It's time for a little postseason soccer here on a Sunday afternoon at the FGCU Soccer Complex. It's the ASUN Semifinals. John Vitas alongside Evan Weston. Evan, this is what these teams play for: a chance for a chance at the conference championship game on the line today, as the regular season champs, the Eagles of FGCU, host Kennesaw State. We saw these teams, or Kennesaw State, play Friday night, a 3-1 win over number 4 UNF. Pretty impressive performance by the Owls.
Yeah, they really went after it right from the get-go. They scored in the 8th minute of the game. Aaron Harris, really just a great individual play, and they ran from there. And what impressed me about them was when they got that early lead, they didn't just sit on it. They weren't trying to run out the clock or just content to sit back and absorb pressure. They went after the game. They continuously pressured with their front three. That's something I think is going to be really interesting today. How much does Benji Walton send his front three after the back line of FGCU? I would expect the Eagles to have a little bit more of the ball than North Florida did on Friday night. They're going to try to play out of the back. Will Kennesaw State be able to win the ball in good positions like they did on Friday night? That was what helped them to get that victory over the Ospreys.
We talked about it on Friday. If Kennesaw State plays the way they did Friday today, they have a good chance to pull an upset here today. They were tremendous in every phase of the game. They come into today on a 4-game winning streak. The first 3 games of that streak were 1-0 final scores. They were able to put up 3 goals on Sunday, which kind of worries you even more if you're FGCU. But this is a team in the Eagles with a ton of pedigree. 13th year head coach Jim Blankenship is a legend. Just picked up his 5th ASUN Coach of the Year award the other day, and today looks to get his team back to the ASUN Finals, which he's done in 12 of his first 13 seasons here in Fort Myers. The Eagles are a fixture in the conference title game, and they need to win today to continue that streak. 9 ASUN regular season championships in 13 years for Jim Blankenship's team, and 6 appearances in the NCAA tournament, of course bidding for appearance number 7 here in 2019. There is a lot of firepower in this matchup, some tremendous offensive players, a lot of athletic, speedy players as well. But both of these teams' back lines have been fantastic here at the end of the season as Tiffany Sornpow scoops up that first opportunity for the Eagles.
Yeah, they have. FGCU is obviously just so good defensively every season, and they've got Lindsay Patton, the Defensive Player of the Year. Her partner back there in Opal Curlis, another terrific player with a lot of size. Meanwhile, when you look at Kennesaw State, 3 clean sheets in a row to end the season. They lost that shutout streak late in the game against UNF on Friday night, but still able to put enough in the back of the net for a fairly comfortable victory. I think the first goal in this game, I mean, it's silly to say the first goal is important. It always is. But in a game like this, where the defenses have been so accomplished, it matters even more so.
Kennesaw State has allowed just 1 goal in their last 4 games, and FGCU has allowed only 3 goals in their last 8 games. So like you said, the back line has been fantastic for both teams. And just based on what we saw Friday night, this Kennesaw State team is very fit. They're very disciplined. They play well together. There's a chance inside for Mom Boylston, looking to try and find a teammate, and it's cleared away by the Owls, who were in their yellow jerseys here today after winning in their black uniforms on Friday night. There's a bouncer into the box. Papadanova looking for it as it's headed towards the side, and cleared but not out. This one is going to be lifted towards the sideline by Lindsay Patton as it's kind of shanked out of bounds, and it'll be Owls' ball.
I love that from Patton. You know, you're a central defender. You're not typically involved in the attack, but she trusts her teammates enough. She's willing to get forward and keep things going for FGCU to provide an extra body. It looks like a 4-4-2 diamond for the Eagles, so they're going to have an extra player in midfield throughout this game. That's designed for them to be able to have a lot of the ball and continue to push the ball up the field towards their 2 forwards, and Papadanova in particular.
Pressure being applied early by the top-seeded Eagles as Sornpow jumps on that one again. We expect them to control the tempo, or at least try to. But Kennesaw State, I mean, we talked about how fit they were and how they really just did not allow UNF and one of the top strikers in the conference in Thais Heist. They just did not allow any openings, especially down the stretch when UNF was really raising their energy level. And today is going to be an even tougher test towards their fitness, because they turn around on just a day and a half of rest and have to do it again against the #1 team in the conference.
They were all over Heiss on Friday night. You got to give a lot of credit to Carly Pressgrove, who's the number 6 midfielder, the defender, and then the two defensive center backs, Kendall Hart and Kelsey Hahn, were both spectacular. All three of them involved there, and they'll be involved, already are early, in keeping Papadanova, the player of the year in the league, away from getting early opportunities.
Yeah, she's the one you have to look out for. Number 17 in white, Boylston, who has it now, also can really score and create opportunities, able to shake a couple defenders. The cross is knocked away by Abby Hunt. Number 27 in yellow for the Owls. This one's brought back towards midfield. Patton chips it up high into the air towards the center. Brentlinger goes up for it, and then Patton heads it forward. Boylston towards the middle. There is Papadanova, the player of the year in the conference. Now Boylston with a lot of jerseys around her, and it's eventually set towards midfield.
So something really interesting that Kennesaw State is doing. They started Decker today, and we were kind of wondering why they would start Decker and Hunt, who both play the same position. The reason is they're playing down a player in midfield, and they're having Hunt man mark Papadanova and follow her wherever she goes on the field, so they have an extra defender on her in addition to the players that are already around her. So Abby Hunt is actually, she's not really playing a set position at all. She is specifically out there to man mark Papadanova. They've sacrificed an attacking player in order to do that. That's how much they respect her.
And here she goes, Papadanova chasing that one down laterally.
Hunt will always go with her no matter where she goes on the field.
They swing it out wide. 4 white jerseys in the box if they can get it there, and it's knocked out of bounds. It'll be a corner kick coming for the Eagles. And Evan, we've seen in the first few minutes here, both coaches showing a lot of trust in veteran players, with Coach Walton putting a junior experienced defender in Hunt on the best player in the conference, and we've seen Patton push forward the usual top defender for the Eagles. Here's the corner into the mix, and Sornpau goes up high to bring it in.
Such a confident goalkeeper, always comes off her line well, and now looking to get the counterattack going. This is where Kennesaw State's going to have to feast today, because they're not going to have a ton of the ball, especially if they're sacrificing a midfielder to defend Papadanova one-on-one.
Yeah, Coach Walton values possession. He likes the through ball. They don't want to go over the top. FGCU, both their men's and their women's teams, have a lot of speed. They can go over the top. They can play long balls. But today for Kennesaw State, it's going to be a little bit different, having to go up against the number 1 team in the conference.
Yeah, they have to be a little bit more pragmatic. They have been so far, and decent chance developing here.
Sosa towards the corner, trying to shake that defender. It's Zoe Spitzer. They get it towards the center. Here's a shot towards net. Weck traces it, but it's over the crossbar and out of bounds. First opportunity there for the Owls.
Love that from Sosa. Draw the extra defender towards you. Actually hit a nutmeg right through the legs to find Decker, but just a little bit overshot towards Becky Contreras at the far post. That's what Kennesaw State's going to have to do, though. That's a good play for them. Get the ball down the field quickly before FGCU can get numbers back and before they can get their defense set up.
So Melissa Weck will take the goal kick. She is a senior out of Esperanza High School in Yorba Linda, California. Weck, a second-team all-conference selection. She is one of the best in the conference. As this one is set towards the box, Papadanova trying to run to it, but Hunt is there and steers it out of bounds. It'll be Kennesaw State ball, but Weck in ASUN play with a .6 goals against average, which is a testament to the back line as well, and an 80% or 83% save percentage in conference play as well. She is fantastic.
Yeah, for me, goals against average is a team stat, and I think that for Florida Gulf Coast, they can be extremely proud of the work they've done defensively this year in the league. They have just been a brick wall. A lot of that, too, goes down to how good their midfield and forwards are, that they can keep a lot of the ball. Their teams aren't facing a lot of shots, and the shots they do face tend not to be as high quality as some that they themselves get on the other end.
Nifty backheel pass there, but into the waiting area of some Kennesaw State defenders.
It's early, and FGCU is going to have a lot of the ball and a lot of shots today. But I'll tell you what, I am so impressed by this decision by Benji Walton to put a player on Papadanova in a man-marking situation. That is rare. It's very uncommon in this game. But it's something that he respects her so much that he's devoting an entire resource to take her away. FGCU is going to have to figure out another way here.
Sosa looking to the back post, and a nice play made by Weck. They were looking for the first goal scorer from Friday, Erin Harris.
Now, Sosa's been the outlet so far when they go to the counterattack. She might be the the second fastest player on the team besides Aaron Harris. That's a look that Kennesaw State's going to be able to go back to. Very impressed with the Owls so far.
Headed forward towards Papadanova with Hunt all over. And then Papadanova goes down, and they are going to call a foul against Isabella Contreras.
So that was a rare moment where Hunt let another defender switch on to Papadanova, and they instantly concede a free kick. Abby Hunt's going to have to stick with number 17.
Patton will take it for the Eagles. A good opportunity here.
Yeah, set pieces are going to be big for them, too. Kennesaw State has to be sound fundamentally defending all of these, as there's going to be a bunch of them.
This is a low bouncer trying to lead Papadanova, but it's cleared towards the sideline. Harris trying to keep it in, cannot, so a throw in for FGCU.
And I don't think that was exactly what Patton wanted there. I think she wanted it a little bit tighter towards the goal, or to have a runner go out and get that. But fortunately for them, Hahn scuffs the clearance, and so they continue to stay deep in Kennesaw State's half.
This is Papadanova along the sideline. No openings for her early on. Sanaya Clark bumps it towards the corner. Megan Young trying to run behind it, but she's shielded off by Baker. And they are going to give the Eagles a corner kick as Kendall Baker caught that ball.
This is going to be a big game for players like Young, Boyleson, because Kennesaw State has committed an extra resource to keeping Papadanova away from the ball. It'll be down to these other very accomplished players to get something done.
Kira Marios will take it, the sophomore from Titusville, Florida. A nursing major here at FGCU, trying to put her team on the board in their first postseason game. This one's lifted right into the center of the box, headed down by Patton, and the ball is steered aside. We have a whistle first. I think it's going to be a foul against, and a yellow card called against Kennesaw State.
Did he give it? He gave a penalty.
So a penalty kick coming. So a yellow card against the Owls and a golden opportunity for the Eagles to take the lead.
I'm getting a look here. A player was pushed down in the box for Florida Gulf Coast, and the referee was looking right at it. They've given the penalty.
Kira Marios will take the PK to put her team on top. She got it! Kira Marios off the PK gives the Eagles a 1-0 lead. The yellow card leads to a lead for the top-seeded FGCU Eagles.
The foul was on Carly Pressgrove, pushing a player down in the box. The referee is going to see that every time. This is why, we talk about set pieces. They're so important in this game, at this level in particular, because it's an opportunity to create chaos. And when you can create chaos, good things happen for you as an attacking team. That's exactly what happened here. And after such a bright start for Kennesaw State defensively, a nightmare scenario. And now the Eagles take the 1-0 lead. Kira Marios showing good composure, finishing that nice, confident finish.
Jonathan Weiner, the head official, with a decisive call there right as that ball was steered into the mix, and not much of an argument either. Here comes Papadanova towards the top of the box. Boylston chips it into the air, and it's cleared by Pressgrove, who was just called for that yellow card. And that's a break that just can really break the backs of the Owls. Like you said, they came out playing a very solid soccer, and to come from behind against the top seed is twice as difficult as trying to beat them straight up.
Goals change games, man, and now there's a question strategically. You have to score a goal now. So when you have to score a goal, how much longer can you commit a resource to defending one player? When do you have to take that player and move them up the pitch? It's still so early, but Kennesaw State is going to have to change something now because they're down.
Contreras was able to fit it through for Sosa, but plenty of white jerseys there to contest. However, a foul called against the Eagles.
And kind of an unnecessary foul there. FGCU had a 2v1 advantage defending the ball. And again, especially for Kennesaw State, taking advantage of set pieces is so important. It's difficult to create chaos against a back line as organized and as solid and experienced as FGCU's.
Kendall Hart will take the free kick.
Yeah, often you just put the player with your strongest leg on these, and that's quite often a central defender. It's Patton for FGCU.
This one's chipped pretty well towards the middle of the box, and Weck is there to bring it in with two hands.
Yeah, Hart got a little bit under that one, too much air on it, and Weck, such a good goalkeeper. That's pretty routine for her.
Drop kick across midfield. Brentlinger chases after it, but Hart is there to play it down. Chipped up in the air by Megan Young. Clark battling with Erin Harris. This is Becky Contreras, the freshman of the year, on the ball for Kennesaw State. Tracking it towards the corner, able to get something off, but it's into the bleachers, and another goal kick for WEC.
Well, it took a deflection, John.
Oh, you're right.
They're giving a corner here for Kennesaw State.
Well, there's a break for the Owls. They'll get their first corner of the afternoon.
That's a good play by Contreras to make something out of nothing there. And now another set piece up, another chance to create some chaos.
Eagles had the first two corners. Now the Owls get one. They'll try and level this match at one apiece. Here it comes. It's a low liner towards the center of the box. It stays true. Contreras on it. Bumps it to a teammate on the far side, and WEC is there on the near post to bring it in. So they had a couple of opportunities on the ball there, but unable to score. But as much possession as they can have, that being the Owls, they'll gain confidence through this one.
That's such a great break for FGCU now that they can just play their game with the lead. They can really take it over here.
Cassidy Morgan was able to get it out wide for a teammate. Boylston looking to lead Karamarios to the ball, and there's another aggressive play by Sorn Powell.
She's phenomenal coming off her line, maybe the best in the league, and you have to be very clinical around the goal to keep it away from her. Big part of why Kennesaw State's defense has been so good this year.
And you can see the Owls trying to go quick towards the top of the box, trying to lead Harris. WEC is there. There's contact. It's deflected out of bounds along the end line, and another corner coming for Kennesaw State.
Well, that's a lovely weighted ball from Isabella Contreras. Finds Erin Harris in a good position. And we just talked about Sorn Powell. Great aggressive play by Melissa WEC to come off her line, make things difficult for the forward, or else that was going to be a goal. She had to know there is no defender in the ASUN that can keep up with Erin Harris in the open field. We saw it happen on Friday night.
And you love how quick the Owls went there on the counterattack. They are here ready to play again. That PK was a really tough break for Kennesaw State, but they have not been phased. Here comes the corner again in a decent spot. It's chipped and headed towards that end line and out of bounds. Again, a couple of touches there for the Owls off the corner kick, just unable to convert.
Yeah, they've really responded well to the goal. I mean, it's easy when you have a situation like that where you're in a game where you're an underdog and something like that goes against you early where you can just hang your head. And this team is just way too composed and mature for that. They went out there and now they're pressuring the ball. They're playing their game. And they're looking to create chaos on set pieces, which they've done a nice job of on these last couple. They have to stick with it. Can't get intimidated when things like this happen.
Papadanova over to help Kira Marios along that far sideline, and then it's played out of bounds back over to Kennesaw State. Well, this is a Kennesaw State team that has a ton of momentum right now. We mentioned the 4-game winning streak. They come into today at 11-7, but at one point they were 7-7 and really unsure whether they would even get a spot in this conference tournament. 6 of the 9 teams make it, and they were on the outside looking in at one point, and then a long road trip. They said they had 6 flights in less than a week. They ended up in Lynchburg, Virginia against one of the top teams in the conference in Liberty, able to pull out an emotional 1-0 win. And from that point on, Coach Walton said, we realized we could beat anybody, and the focus came to our side. We weren't worried about the opponent anymore, and they've played loose ever since. And they almost feel like they're playing with house money at this point, reaching the semifinals after a 7-7 start to the year.
And that loss, the last loss they suffered was on this field against Florida Gulf Coast. And to go to Liberty and win that game, a Liberty team that was upset on Friday night by NJIT, their season is over. Just a season-changing win, and you've got to love the young core that Benji Walton has assembled here. If this is it for them today, and there's still an eternity left in this game, there is nowhere to go but up for this team in 2020.
Kendall Hart again will take a free kick in a pretty good position. Here come the Owls. That one's chipped right at WEC. She goes up high and brings it in. Again, too much on it from Hart.
Yeah, I've been impressed with WEC early, too. You know, when you, as a goalkeeper, make a decision to go after the ball, you must touch it. There is no gray area there. You have to make a play. And every time WEC has made that decision, she's come through. That's a confident goalkeeper who trusts her defense and knows when she needs to make a play.
Abby Hunt steers it out of bounds there, so a throw-in coming for FGCU. About 18 minutes into this first half, a 1-0 Eagles lead coming on a penalty kick from Kira Marios. Clark throwing in. Papadanova to it. She's got a seam, but it's cleared away quickly by Decker. Baker along the sideline with Clark, headed forward, and the Owls are there to control it. Evan, there are better conditions weather-wise for this match. Only 83 degrees right now, which is lower than usual from what we've seen the last couple of weeks. A little bit less humidity. It's still warm, but more comfortable than usual here in Fort Myers for a Sunday afternoon game. Here's a chance on the ball. The shot is deflected. And then headed up in the air. Another shot chipped towards that post, but Sorn Powell is there to scoop it up.
Yeah, that's a good little bit of combination play there. A little back. So close to finding one. She just couldn't time the volley correct. That's a really difficult shot. Those two forwards, Papadanova and Lilback, so dangerous when they get to play that two-man game.
Yeah, and they did there. They had a couple of bounces go right to them in that sequence. Patton chipping forward. And nobody home there for the Eagles. Closest person to it is Abby Hunt. And she's going to wait for it to roll out of bounds.
Maybe
Maybe
not.
That
it's going to, yeah.
Megan Young is over there to contest it, and she earns possession for FGCU.
Well done by Young. Yeah, don't give up on that play. Keep hustling, and good things will happen.
So now the Eagles have an opportunity, wedged in the corner. Play down by Pressgrove. Harris towards it along the sideline, and she can't control it. Another throw in. Pretty good pace to this game early on. Both teams very familiar with one another. As Evan alluded to earlier, a 2-0 Eagles win in their regular season meeting. Here's Papadanova with some space, gives it up, but offline on the pass, and they have to chase after it. Morgan towards the sideline won't get there.
That's a good ball by Papadanova. Just nobody in the right place to run onto it, but that's exactly what you want to do. Great, dangerous creation by the Conference Player of the Year.
And for a player with 10 goals in the regular season, was looking to give that one up rather than take a shot herself.
Well, she's a smart player. She knows where she is on the field, who's got the best chance to make a play. Just didn't have a teammate in the right place. And here's Harris.
Harris trying to take advantage of that roller, but Weck is there to clean it up. Here come the Owls. Contreras on it. Here is Harris, marked well, trying to go left on Clark. Towards that sideline, looking for a teammate. It's deflected, and there's that defense for FGCU.
Really well done positionally by Sanaya Clark there. Just keep her in front of you. Don't let her get around you. Harris was trying to turn the corner on the end line, and Clark did not allow her to do so.
And the Eagles get it back.
No reason to bite. You don't have to go make a huge play. Just keep her in front of you. That's smart defending. And we talk about Jim Blankenship. I mean, there's that influence. He's just such a great fundamental coach. This team doesn't make it's true of pretty much every team in their athletic program. They just don't make mistakes. They are such a clean team. You have to work for it if you're going to score on them.
And this year's team in particular, so much experience. The 5 players in the back, the back line plus Melissa Weck, they're all juniors and seniors. So this, even though this isn't their best record they've ever had, this is one of the most experienced teams they've ever had, and that should play well in the postseason. Baker gets to it. Pressgrove to the sideline for Harris. We talked about Baker a little bit on Friday night, Evan. She's a player that really helped Kennesaw State get their footing underneath them in the middle stages of the season. She's been moved around to a bunch of different positions by Benji Walton, but it was here in Fort Myers where she found her home on the back line as a defender, and she has really played well there. She's been a forward at times in her career.
Yeah, she started as a winger this year and scored a couple of goals, but wasn't quite as comfortable. But as a left back, she's really excelled. I've been very impressed with her this weekend. And to get that outside back position locked in when you've got someone like Abby Hunt on the other side, that's led to that great defensive record they put up.
Yeah, Baker made a couple of big plays against North Florida on Friday as well. That was the first, the one goal they allowed to the Ospreys was the first goal they've allowed in 2 weeks. So,
what a ball by Pressgrove.
Sosa to the corner, able to keep it in, but the Eagles are there. Nope, it goes out of bounds.
just a step behind it, John. That was such a great idea by Pressgrove. Put the ball down, get your speedy forward on it, and make something happen. Just a touch out of reach.
So another goal kick coming for Melissa Weck as we hit the halfway point of this first half. It feels like a really even game, Evan, even with the PK giving the Eagles a 1-0 lead. And obviously FGCU has been pretty comfortable. They've been able to play their game for the most part, but there haven't been a ton of amazing opportunities. And Kennesaw State, again, is playing pretty crisply, and they've been able to keep this woman in check. Papadanova, their 2 yellow jerseys on top of that play, and it's played out of bounds by Kelsey Hahn, and a throw-in for FGCU. But for a 1 seed versus a 5 seed, it feels a little more like a 1 versus a 3 or a 2 versus a 3.
Yeah, and this Kennesaw State team is a testament to the depth of the conference, that a team can be this fundamentally sound and this athletic and this talented and be a 5 seed.
Yeah, it's a testament to the conference. That middle part of the conference this year is particularly strong, and we talked about the momentum that Kennesaw State's been able to generate here late in the season. It makes them a much more dangerous 5 seed in the ASUN than usual. Here come the Owls across midfield. Harris won't be able to run to that one as it ends up on the foot of Weck.
Yeah, it was a little ambitious from Isabella Contreras, and she knew it. Had to angle that ball a little bit more to get Erin Harris a chance.
They do move the ball quickly, the Owls. Once they get an opportunity across midfield, it's almost like they know they're not going to be able to sustain long possessions. That one ends up with Harris, although she's not able to corral it. And it's kind of misplayed there by Hunt, but luckily Baker is there for the Owls. Headed high by Contreras, but Patton is there to clean it up and drop it to Weck. A low liner towards the far sideline, skips through Decker. And Decker will have a throw-in. Looks like they called a touch on Kira Marios. We'll get our first substitution of the afternoon. Morgan Harrison enters for Kennesaw State, a goal scorer from Friday night's game. She had a terrific left-footed shot from maybe 30 yards out to score the second goal of the night for Kennesaw State. Gave them a 2-0 lead. She was benched in favor of Decker today, but Harrison will still play a large role in this game.
I'm interested to see now. So they've put Harrison in for Contreras, which means she's going to play as the attacking midfielder for Kennesaw State. She was a little bit more in a defensive role or sort of a box-to-box role on Friday night. But Benji Walton has a lot of trust in Morgan Harrison to be solid and make smart plays.
Yeah, something's bothering Isabella Contreras. She's a senior and a first-team all-conference performer, and she's doubled over on the bench right now. And I'm a little surprised to see her come out with 20 minutes to go in the first half. It's got to be some sort of an illness.
Yeah, she's struggling a little bit here. Hopefully that they can get her feeling a little bit better.
Yeah, just in a vacuum, a first-team all-conference senior in a playoff game to take one of your best players out in the middle stages of a 1-goal game.
Yeah,
you wouldn't normally see that.
I can't imagine that was a tactical change, especially seeing Contreras struggling a little bit here over on the sideline.
You could understand if there's some fatigue and exhaustion this weekend. Obviously, the Florida heat is serious. Again, a little bit more comfortable today, but it's still over 80 degrees. And, of course, in the Atlanta area, it's been a lot cooler the last couple of weeks where the Owls have been practicing. So you can understand some fatigue. Here comes Lil back towards the corner. Still going with it. Able to
phenomenal strength.
Looking for a teammate now. And she is met by Hahn. And eventually plays it all the way back for Spitzer. Boylston heads it towards the far side of the box, and it's cleared away by Decker.
That's wonderful defense from Kennesaw State. Lilback has the power and the speed and the skill to get to the end line. She tries to pull it back, but because Hunt is there shadowing Papadanova, that allows Hahn to drift towards that play, help out Decker, and eventually clear the ball. That's what the choice that Benji Walton made coming into this game, and the penalty had nothing to do with how they've played defense. You know, it came on a set piece. Their open play defense has been spectacular. FGCU really hasn't threatened them, but I think he's going to now, trailing in the game, maybe at halftime, have to make some sort of a tactical adjustment, take a little bit more of a risk defensively to allow his forwards to have some help.
I completely agree. We've got a yellow card here against Cassidy Morgan of the Eagles, so another free kick in plus territory, if you will, for the Owls. They're going to give it to Hart again, and if she puts the same amount of oomph on it as she did the previous two, this will be perfect because she's about 10 yards further back. There it is, right at the top of the box. It's loose, but the Eagles are the first to it on the back door. I think that was Clark who was able to bump it towards the sideline. It stays in, though. Abby Hunt is to it. She's got two teammates in that vicinity, but it's headed away by the Eagles. Not out. Hart is there. Hart looking, goes low with it, and it's taken away. Lindsay Patton flying forward. Here come the Eagles. Leads one for Papadanova. Lil back is near the box. Papadanova on the far side has some momentum. Looking for teammates. She's defended well. It's knocked away for a moment. Great play on the ball by Kelsey Hahn.
That's two excellent central defenders on both ends of the field making plays. Patton for FGCU, and then Hahn for Kennesaw State with the answer.
Contreras somehow able to will it through for Harris. Back and forth they go, and another great defensive play by Zoe Spitzer.
Yeah, good read there by Spitzer. Another all-conference selection, second team. That they're littered all over the FGCU roster. This was the best team in the league this season. They are showing you why today. I am so impressed with how Kennesaw State has played. They've countered fairly effectively. They've won the ball in good positions. They've defended terrifically with this, man-marking system on Papadanova, and yet FGCU is still in the lead. That's how good they are. You just sort of have to tip your cap.
The pace has really picked up here in the middle stages of this first half. Both these teams feel really comfortable with the way things are going right now. They are moving the ball, making solid individual efforts as well. Harris able to get to that ball, looking to lead Contreras. Contreras is there. She's on the ball. Left-footed shot, and Weck is there to make a sliding stop.
If she'd hit, that's a tough angle. If she'd been able to hit that a little bit more cleanly, they might have had a chance there. That's wonderful. Quick counterattacking soccer from Kennesaw State. I got to say, I'm really surprised at how well Kennesaw State has controlled the midfield in this game. I didn't expect them to have quite this much of the ball, quite these many opportunities. I think maybe FGCU going ahead allowed them to sit back a little bit more. But I am very impressed with Kennesaw State's ability to win the ball in good position so far. Eventually, they are going to make FGCU pay if the Eagles don't step it up in the middle of the park a little bit more.
So a throw in here. Catherine Schreck into the game for Kennesaw State, number 8 with it right now. And Downs is there as well for Sosa. And Weck letting it go.
Schreck started 11 games for Kennesaw this year. Had not played in the last 3, nursing a minor knock, but she's back out there at left back for Kendall Baker. And Downs is going to switch Harris over to the right side. Downs will play as a left winger.
And by the way, Isabella Contreras has not yet gotten up off that bench. She is still kind of nursing that injury or illness there on the sideline. She hasn't joined the rest of her teammates standing in front of the bench. So we'll keep an eye on her. The Owls really need her back. The senior leader for this Kennesaw State team is Patton plays it all the way back, and a whistle first, a foul against Harris. Well, we are seeing some fresh faces in there for the Owls, and you can understand it if you're Benji Walton. You might have to use a larger bench here today because you just played a hard-fought game less than 48 hours ago in the Florida Heat. So we might see some names in the game here late in the first half that we didn't see on Friday, which already is the case. Papadanova tracing it, looking for Lil Back, who plays it wide for Megan Young. Can Young create for the Eagles? Into the box, and Soren Powell is quick to it. Soren Powell has been all over everything.
They're lightning fast, though, aren't they? They just, it does not take them long to develop it. Tiffany Soren Powell's had to be head on a swivel. Oh, that's a great header.
Up ahead, looking for Downs, and it's steered away by Patton.
To get around Patton, you've got to be inch perfect. There cannot be even a slight hesitation or an angle that's slightly off. She is just so solid. You said to me before we went on the air that this defense is a rock, and she is the, I guess, the core of that rock.
The rock of the rock.
The rock of the rock, sure.
Throw in coming for Kennesaw State. Hart will give it up, and Schreck will take it instead. Redshirt sophomore from Marietta, Georgia, went to Pope High School, which has produced a nice list of professional athletes. Played down by Morgan Harrison. The freshman Contreras was hoping to loop it over Curlis. Instead, it's Young finding Papadanova. Morgan's turning and dropping to Young. Possession here for the Eagles. Looking long for Lilback. Lilback running behind it. Decker the closest to defend. Turning around. Lilback's got a seam. And it's played away for the moment by Hart.
It's just going to be hard for them to find Papadanova with how much attention they're paying to her.
A great job by Pressgrove to stop the FGCU momentum. Here's another ball into the box. Hahn is there with the angle, and now Hahn banks it off Kira Marios and out of bounds.
Yeah, again, there's got to be another runner for FGCU because Papadanova is going to be blanketed, barring some badly missed assignment. But the way that they've set this up is for Papadanova not to be able to make plays.
Out of bounds again. Eagles get the throw in this time. We have 12 minutes to go here in the opening half.
Looks like when they took Hunt off, they replaced her with Baker as the shadow for Papadanova.
You can't mark Papadanova for 90 minutes, can you, Evan? That would be
as one player? Yeah, no, that would be unbelievably tiring.
Papadanova is just a ball of energy. The senior from Bulgaria, transfer from an NAIA school, Northwestern Ohio. What a find for Coach Jim Blankenship.
It's amazing that she wasn't recruited to begin with, but I think that also speaks to the development that happens in this program.
Well, despite playing here in Fort Myers, there's an attempt at a bicycle kick there from Papadanova, and she kind of fell flat, but looking for a spectacular goal with her team already in front. Contact there between Schreck and Young. It's played towards the sideline by Decker and out of bounds to the Eagles. But Papadanova has a diverse arsenal offensively, and she tried to get around that ball and couldn't quite do it. But Papadanova, the three-time Bulgarian Footballer of the Year, playing college soccer here in Fort Myers, Florida. Her home country still recognizing her as one of the best. Young chipping it towards the far side. And, I mean, I'm not quite sure how Jim Blankenship found Papadanova, but he is sure glad he did. Last season, she had 6 game-winning goals. This year, she's got 5 game-winning goals and a 4th highest goal total and point total in school history last year, and really backed it up with an almost identical season here as a senior. And, of course, the Conference Player of the Year here in 2019. So she has garnered a lot of defensive attention of the Owls today. But now it's Kennesaw State pushing forward. Aaron Harris racing towards that far corner. Has Contreras, the freshman, in the box, looking for a low pass, but it goes out of bounds.
Yeah, right idea, trying to slip it through to Becky Contreras. Just didn't quite turn it as much as she needed to.
Coach Walton about to get 2 more substitutes in here for the final 10 minutes of play. They are using more players in the first half than the Eagles are. The Eagles, they play their entire roster over the course of the year, and of course part of that's because they always seem to have at least a handful of blowout wins over the course of the year where they can get everybody in. But on the stat sheet at least, they usually use their bench more. But here in a postseason game, the second postseason game for Kennesaw State, they're going to be the team to use more of their roster today. And of course, whoever wins this game has 5 days of rest or 6 days of rest before the final. And of course, you're not thinking about that today because it's win or go home.
Yeah, absolutely. It's taking care of the business in front of you. And this is not a situation where FGCU can be like, oh, well, it's the 5 seed. We've got this one. This is not the sort of team that you can have that attitude towards. And to be honest with you, John, I think this has been an even game so far. It really is just it was one moment of I keep going back to this word, but that's what you're trying to do. One moment of chaos where Kennesaw State made a mistake, conceding the penalty on the corner kick. That's been the only lull in this game for the Owls, and right now it's got the behind.
Boylson changing directions. The Brazilian striker towards the box, and a nice defensive play again by Hahn. There's a low pass by Morgan, chipped up in the air by the Owls.
Hahn is just a wonderful defender. The way that she is always in the right position. She's not trying to do anything fancy. Just a pure defender. You love to see that attitude from a player.
Hahn's second team all-conference this year. Papadanova was trying to lead Boylston, but Schreck is there. Clark punching it towards the corner. That's Schreck along with Young. It's deflected out of bounds.
Well done by Young. That was Schreck just trying to let that roll out. Young, again, this is not the first time she's done this today. Staying with it and earning a better situation for her team.
Yeah, Young has been a part-time player this year, and as a true freshman 3 years ago, she missed 2017 with an injury, so she's a redshirt junior, but she has come on strong here at the end of the year for the Eagles. Abandondolo with a corner kick headed high in the air. Sornpau jumps all over it.
Yeah, again, these set pieces seem to be the best course of attack for FGCU. Oh, look out here.
Crowley into the game for Kennesaw State, trying to lead the counterattack, but it'll go back over to the Eagles.
They said over the PA offside, but I thought I saw the linesman's flag point the other way. I
think you're right.
I think that went out of play. I think that's what they called there, that it's a throw-in for FGCU. I did think that Kennesaw was onside when that ball was played, but it went out on the far side of the field.
We mentioned Alyssa Abandondolo now into the game as well for FGCU. A sophomore from nearby Oasis High School in Cape Coral, next town over from Fort Myers. Spitzer trying to get it to a teammate.
I didn't realize how big Cape Coral was, but I saw the population, and it's almost 200,000 people.
Yeah.
The Fort Myers Cape Coral metro area is
Naples as well as part of it.
Very big, yeah.
It's a bigger area than you'd think.
Certainly.
It's a little spread out, but of course a lot of folks retire here to Southwest Florida, and it's a fast-growing area. But we've got a host of subs in right now for Kennesaw State. They've got 6 subs in the game. Here's one of them, Schreck towards the sideline. We'll have to throw it in.
Yeah, they're going to have to keep everybody fresh because they are going to have to go all out in the second half to try and find an equalizer if they can't do so within the next 6 minutes. But this is, again, cheap foul conceded by FGCU and a good opportunity to put a ball into a dangerous area on a set piece for Kennesaw State. They have really played well throughout this game.
And Becky Contreras has been the catalyst up top for Kennesaw State. She's a freshman and has been probably the most active player offensively for Kennesaw State. Here comes another free kick. It'll be taken by Kendall Hart once again. It chips a low liner into the box, headed into the air. It's in traffic, played down, still loose, and Weck eventually dives to scoop it up. That was in danger for a long time, and Kennesaw State could not get a clean shot off.
Again, just put the ball in a dangerous area. It actually did at one point fall to the feet of Becky Contreras, but there were too many defenders in front of her. FGCU just basically sitting on the goal line to keep that out, and they did just enough. But Kennesaw State have got to feel pretty good about the quality of the chances that they've created so far. And this one isn't nearly over.
So the Eagles, the top seed, dodge a major bullet there. And like you said, Evan, this game is still very much in the balance. It has not been one-sided one bit. We get another sub in for the Owls. It's Cameron Simmons, a member of the ASUN all-freshman team. And there is the player we've been talking about. Becky Contreras will get a breather here over the final 4 minutes. It's a short break, but it'll help her in the second half. Becky Contreras, the ASUN Freshman of the Year, getting a rest here. What a job she's done today.
Yeah, terrific hold-up player. She's dangerous. She flashes into good situations. They've got a real find with Becky Contreras. And we asked Benji Walton about her before this weekend, and he said it was always the plan to have her be such a key part of this attack. They knew what they had years before when they were recruiting her.
Throw in for Kennesaw State. Young pops it up in the air, played forward by Sydney Sauer, the sophomore midfielder. Patton popping one up towards midfield. Papadanova heads it down, but Schreck is there. However, she's called for a foul. Well, this is going to be a tremendous second half, Evan, no matter what happens here over the final few minutes. Kennesaw State, no doubt, came out ready to play today, and just that foul in the box against Pressgrove early in the half, maybe about 10 minutes in, and that's been the difference on the scoreboard. Other than that, like you said, very even matchup here.
Yeah, they've really it's a shame that they're trailing, to be honest, because they really have played a terrific game, but that's the nature of things in soccer. You make that one minor mistake, and FGCU was certain to hurt them for it.
Player goes down. That was Harrison. We'll see if FGCU, with all of their offensive stars in the game right now, can make something happen.
Yeah, they haven't changed too many players. They've sort of just gone after it here in the first half for the most part, and I think they've had a little bit less of the ball than they would have liked.
And when they get Abandondolo in the game, that's another offensive player that the Owls have to worry about. Here's a chance. Towards the middle, Boylston has some space if she can get by the defender. Boylston chests it down to herself. It's knocked around. Hart plays it towards the side, but Young is there for FGCU. And then headed forward by Hart, skipping past over Sanaya Clark, but Lindsay Patton is there to keep it in. Patton looking for Abandondolo on the far side of the box. Sornpal way out there, able to track it down.
Yeah, Patton is so good. Just to have the awareness to come step up, go get the ball, prevent any sort of counterattack from developing. And then her teammates, I don't think, actually expected her to keep that play going. But she tried to put the ball back into a dangerous area. The only one who was wise to it was the goalkeeper, Tiffany Sornpal.
Again, this one towards goal. Papadanova all over it. Pops it up near the net, and it is in. Evie Papadanova jumps all over an opportunity just before the end of the half, and she's able to get it by Sornpal. Papadanova gives the Eagles a 2-0 lead.
I want to explain how good this is. So Kennesaw State put their entire defensive game plan together around taking Papadanova out of the equation. They had done that for close to 45 minutes. One back pass, one moment, she jumps off her marker. Hahn isn't expecting it. Papadanova wins the ball, and then just a magnificent chip over the goalkeeper, perfectly weighted, keeps her balance. And she knew it was in as soon as it went over Sornpal's head. She'd started celebrating. That's why she's the Conference Player of the Year. That is supreme awareness and quality. And now FGCU, just before halftime, have delivered what could be an ending blow to Kennesaw State.
It's a 2-0 Eagles lead on the 11th goal of the year for Evdokia Papadanova, the senior from Bulgaria. Passes Gabrielle Farrell. Papadanova now one of just 3 players in the conference with 11 goals or more. Oh, that is a back-breaking blow to the Owls, who again have most of their starters out of the game here at the end of the half. But that was just an individual effort, winning the ball away from a full line of Kennesaw State defenders.
That was absolutely massive. And DeBall going back to Hahn there. Kelsey Hahn just got eaten up a little bit by Papadanova. I don't think she expected Papadanova to take such an aggressive approach to that. She hadn't been involved, and great players want the ball. She saw an opportunity to get it and make a play, and she took advantage of it.
The horn sounds here at the end of the first half, and 2 goals in the first half for the Eagles. A PK from Kira Marios, and then in the 44th minute, Evie Papadanova able to, no pun intended, pop it over the goalkeeper, Sornpal, on a loose play there at the end, and it's a 2-0 lead for the Eagles. We're going to have a halftime report coming in a few minutes live on the field as we get ready for half number 2 here in the ASUN semifinals. Top-seeded FGCU with a 2-0 lead over the 5th-seeded Kennesaw State Owls. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes live from the pitch here at the FGCU Soccer Complex. Evan Weston alongside you, and Evan, a 2-0 lead for FGCU. We talked about it at halftime. A tall task here for the 5th-seeded Owls to come back down 2 goals, having used so much energy Friday night to beat UNF here in this Florida heat on the road to try and make this happen. But as we get started here, what are the big keys for Kennesaw?
Yeah, they've just got to they've got to go after it. They've got nothing to lose. They have to play with freedom, play with confidence, throw everything that you can at Florida Gulf Coast. And I think they've got to get one in the first 15, 20 minutes. I think that would give them such an advantage psychologically to put FGCU under pressure, because the Eagles aren't going to panic. They've been in this situation before. Every year they're in this situation. They know how to handle it. It's up to you to just go after it, play with freedom, and hope for the best, to be honest. But you can put yourself in the best possible position.
And obviously another goal for the Eagles would be about it. So it's desperation time a bit here for Kennesaw State, but at the same time, they've got to trust themselves. Here comes a chance. Aaron Harris with a shot. Weck dives, and it's barely wide.
That's exactly what they have to do. Get their best players on the ball in good positions, and they're going to need a moment of brilliance. They're going to need something somebody to go above and beyond. That was exactly what Harris tried to do there. She did it against UNF when they scored early in that game on Friday night. That could very well be the key for them here in this second half to get back into this one.
Again, Kennesaw State earning possession here early on. Pass is contested. Contreras able to play it down, though, with Spitzer marking her. The other Contreras, Isabella, the senior, back in there after missing nearly half of the first half. And the pass towards the corner is going to be too long as Sosa slipped a little bit going towards it. It's a 2-0 Eagle lead. The first goal today scored on a penalty kick by Kara Kiramarios after a yellow card was issued to Pressgrove in the box. That was in the 10th minute, and then in the 44th minute, Evie Papadanova jumping on a loose ball amongst the Kennesaw State defenders, able to pop it over Sornpal, the keeper, and make it a 2-0 game. Here comes Papadanova again. Picked up her 11th goal in the first half. One of just 3 players in the league to get to that total, and she earns a corner kick or maybe a throw-in for FGCU.
Yeah, it does appear that they have taken that individual man marker off of her down 2-0. They pretty much had no choice but to do that. But that is going to give Papadanova opportunities on the counterattack.
It is a throw-in. Boylston backing down the defender. She goes down, no foul. That was Pressgrove getting to it. Patton again across midfield to play it down to Sanaya Clark, but the Owls are there. Here's Harris, big-time speed for her. Across midfield, tripped up from behind and goes down hard. A foul against the Eagles. Shots in favor of Kennesaw State in the first half. 6-4, they led.
Yeah, you'd expect that. FGCU getting up early. Kennesaw State did respond well. They had their opportunities. Weck actually had to make 4 saves in that first half. They had that one chaotic play in front of the goal line that I thought might be able to turn into something. But they're going to have to take advantage of all of these. Even a set piece from halfway is still an opportunity to put the ball in a good situation.
Kendall Hart taking the free kick for the Owls. A lot of traffic. Player went down at the top of the box. Contreras was ridden to the ground, and no foul called.
Well,
Benji Walton not happy.
They called the foul on Contreras, in fact. They got her for dragging down the FGCU player in the box. I believe it was Karamarios who was the offended party there, and Contreras came up furious with the referee, and now Benji Walton wants an exact explanation, and he said he's going to get a yellow card.
The Yellows are coming out fast and furious here early in the second half. The Eagles just picked one up. Now Benji Walton, the head coach for Kennesaw State, has one. Officially awarded to the team after Sanaya Clark had the yellow card on the defensive play against Harris to stop her momentum, and Kennesaw State awarded a throw in there on the far side. So some heated play early on both sides, first couple of minutes of this second half. Young able to get a foot up high to play that one down and out of bounds. Hart to throw in. Nifty play by Contreras to get it forward. Now she gets it back on her foot. Contreras, the low shot bouncing into Weck, and that's her 5th save of the afternoon.
Yeah, it's a comfortable one for the goalkeeper, but again, you just soccer is not like basketball. We're not obsessed with efficiency here. Any shot is a good shot, and that's the exact mentality Kennesaw State has to have. You have to make the defenders make plays.
Harris nudging it forward up the sideline, but Patton is there, banks it off of Harris, now trying to shield her off. Harris goes down, and the ball is going to be given to the Eagles, and then more contact between Patton and Harris after the play. The official coming over to take care of this. And he's going to force the players to make up here in the corner. But they have gotten going up in Nashville. Evan, no score. 9 minutes in between NJIT and Lipscomb. You mentioned earlier NJIT, the number 6 seed, upsetting 3rd-seeded Liberty in Nashville on Friday night. And both NJIT soccer programs, the men and the women, are still alive here in 2019. They've come a long way up in Newark, New Jersey, and those soccer programs are strong.
The men had a phenomenal season. They were just named ASUN regular season champions last night, and they will have guaranteed home field throughout the postseason. Meanwhile, the NJIT women sneaking into the tournament right at the end of the season. They knock off a Liberty team that went 6-2. When you looked at the field going in, the 6th seed was the one, the NJIT, that was under 500. You thought, okay, Liberty's got a pretty easy game, and that was absolutely not the case. NJIT scoring 2 late goals to overcome a deficit and move on. And there was actually a situation where Kennesaw State could host the championship game if they were to come back and take the lead and win this game here today, and then NJIT were to beat Lipscomb. It'd be a 6-5 title game with Kennesaw State as the host.
Of course, that's a little less likely now with the 2-0 score here, but
sure,
it was a possibility. Baker plays it forward, and I suppose still is. Contreras turning, and it's played down by Patton.
Not a high one, but it is possible. So FGCU would be guaranteed to host that title game next weekend if they move on today.
Yeah, and I was going to mention that earlier. The reason that the Eagles are the number 1 seed is because of RPI. They finished in a tie atop the conference at 6-1-1 with Lipscomb. Had identical conference records, and then they tied in the head-to-head, so the next tiebreaker is RPI. Opal Curlis looping one towards the top of the box. It's down, but cleared by Harrison. And now Baker, the closest to it for Kennesaw State, and she'll play it down the sideline. And that's where, and it's odd to see RPI actually used as a tiebreaker, but FGCU rewarded for playing a tougher schedule than Lipscomb.
I actually really like that. I like the non-conference not just being a glorified preseason. I like it having some relevance and giving teams an incentive to schedule tough teams, and to FGCU's immense credit, that is something that they do in every sport. They schedule very difficult non-conferences every single year, and not only does that help you in terms of your RPI, it makes your team better. I think there's a lot to the idea that playing top competition improves your team more than playing teams that you can beat in that non-conference.
Couldn't agree more, Evan. The men's program, men's soccer here at FGCU, they played such a difficult non-conference schedule. They were essentially 500, but maybe the best team in the conference. Contreras plays it wide. That's Sosa there. Sosa with the cross. In towards the keeper. It's loose in the box. The turning shot by Contreras, and it's a 1-goal game. The freshman of the year, Becky Contreras, jumps all over it, and it's 2-1. The Owls are still alive.
Well, what did we talk about in the first half? If a goalkeeper is going to come off her line to get the ball, you've got to get the ball. And Harris did enough. There is some thought that maybe she fouled Weck going up for that ball. That's certainly what FGCU thought, that a foul had been committed in the box. The referee allows it to play on. That all started with Contreras starting the counterattack, getting on the ball, putting it out wide for Sosa to get more numbers involved. It's a great cross by Sosa, and then a good finish by Becky Contreras for her 6th of the year. Tremendous job by Kennesaw State. Nothing less than they deserved with how well they've played, and it's game on here in Fort Myers.
Yeah, it feels right to have a one-goal game here in the second half with how well Kennesaw State has played all weekend. Here's another chance. Isabella Contreras moving forward. Has a couple teammates ahead of the pack, trying to lead one for Harris. It was knocked away by Curlis. Now Spitzer towards the sideline. FGCU snuffs that chance out for now, but we've got a one-goal game. Here it goes towards the top of the box, over Harris, and eventually cleared out towards midfield. Popped up in the air by Decker. Papadanova now with it for the Eagles. Played away by Pressgrove towards the sideline. Kennesaw State towards the middle. Is Becky Contreras the only one there, but it rolls to Melissa Weck. Goal scored in the 53rd minute for Kennesaw State. They have now scored 4 goals here on this pitch this weekend, and that goal does a world of good for their psyche as well. After scoring 3 on Friday, they were kind of discouraged, falling behind 2-0 despite how much effort they put forward. And now they know that the Eagles are human. They were shut out by FGCU on this field a couple of weeks ago in the regular season. FGCU is 9-1 here at home this year, and it just felt like a huge mountain to climb for the Owls at halftime. But all of a sudden, with one quick goal, this game is back up for grabs.
They needed it early, right? I mean, they had to get that goal as quickly as possible, and now Lilback's going to come back in for FGCU because they need the offense now. They're going to have to go for another goal to put the game back out of reach. We said it, Kennesaw State put the ball in dangerous positions enough times that FGCU was going to have to pay eventually. Now they have.
So Kira Marios comes out for the Eagles, and again, like Evan said, Lilback is in. Here come the Owls. Here is Isabella Contreras. Harris and Contreras are there. Trying to lead one for Harris. Harris into the mix. She's upended, and a diving save made by Weck. Contact there between Spitzer and Harris.
Offside was called, so it wouldn't have counted in the end anyway, but that's a great job by Kennesaw State once again on the counterattack to move the ball quickly through the middle of the field. I'm really impressed, surprised and impressed by how much Kennesaw State has had to stay in the midfield today. That's been an area of weakness in this game for FGCU that is not normally a weakness of theirs.
Here they go again. Contreras heads it down right to Harris. Harris takes a crack. It's deflected, but Baker is there trailing the play, and her shot is saved by Weck. It's a flurry of opportunities here for Kennesaw State.
Baker was trying to cross back post for Contreras, who had a tap in, but the play got just too close to the end line. Weck was able to make a play on it, developed a little bit too early for what they were trying to do.
Here comes Papadanova, one-on-one with the defense. They get behind it. And eventually, I think it was offsides called, or a foul called, against the Eagles. But Lilback was there, as was Papadanova, with that ball kind of bouncing up and down right in front of the box. But the tempo is picked up here in the second half in this winner-take-all playoff game. Somebody will see their seasons, will have their season end here today. Papadanova in full pursuit. Hart is there for Kennesaw State. Gets it back to Sornpau. The keeper, Tiffany Sornpau, got that away just in time. Megan Young there is there for FGCU. Lilback, the shot. It's by Sornpau, but wide.
What an opportunity for Florida Gulf Coast, and that's the risk you take. Papadanova pressuring all the way back to Sornpau. She made a poor clearance, went right to Lilback. That should have been a goal for FGCU. They will rue that missed opportunity.
You can see some of the fans reacting there behind the net. They know how great of an opportunity that was. An open spot for Lilback, and she just missed wide to the right. So still 2-1 Eagles. 11 minutes into the second half. Pressgrove fighting for that one. Contact with Cassidy Morgan. Morgan now trying to get to it, but shielded off by Harrison. Spitzer, left-footed attempt down the sideline, no one home. Decker there to get it. Sornpau with Papadanova in pursuit. Morgan couldn't control it. It skips on by. Patton, though, plays it into position for the Eagles. And eventually Hahn able to knock it out of bounds, but a throw in for FGCU. Well, all sorts of momentum for Kennesaw State before that Lilback opportunity. And now the ball on the Owls side of the field. Spitzer looking to create into the box, and it's headed away by the Owls. Not out, though. Here's a pass. Baker is there, and then Isabella Contreras able to deflect it. Here comes the counterattack for Kennesaw State. They've got a couple players forward, but it's taken away by the Eagles. I think that was Morgan getting in there and getting her nose dirty. Here comes Lilback. The pass deflected. Morgan is there with some space. Into the box it comes, but Sorenpau is there to field it on a bounce.
Well, now this game is opened up. We have seen both teams start to understand the situation following the Contreras goal. This game is wide open. And that is good news for Kennesaw State. When you're in an open game, that is advantageous for the trailing team because that gives them a better opportunity to score goals. FGCU needs to gain control of this game and slow things down.
It's good news for Kennesaw State. It's also good news for us.
I'm not complaining. This has been very entertaining.
9 of the 11 starters for Kennesaw State, either juniors or seniors. And it's a similar ratio on the FGCU side. These upperclassmen do not want to see their seasons or even their careers come to an end today. Long one, into the box, headed high, it's loose, Harris off the post, the rebound is blocked, the shot is in! We are tied! Kennesaw State off the rebound scores! They've scored twice in the second half, and it's 2-all. Harris on the initial attempt went off the post. An Eagle defender got a body on it, but as it was loose in traffic in the box, Kennesaw State punched it in.
Creating chaos on a set piece, a difficult situation for FGCU to deal with, a quality delivery. Ball goes off the post. Nobody's got any idea where it is. Kennesaw State's able to pounce and score. Still trying to figure out exactly who had the final touch on the ball to score the goal. I think Carly Pressgrove might have been that player, a spiritual leader of this team in that number 6 midfield position. She's been so vital to them in her final season. And Kennesaw State, not even 15 minutes into the second half, has come back from a 2-0 deficit against the league leaders. That is unbelievable. The fight and the fire that this team has shown.
And Evan, you said at the very beginning stages of this second half that it would really behoove Kennesaw State to score a goal in the first 15 minutes. How about 2?
Yeah, that would have been even better, right?
What a job by the 5th-year senior Pressgrove to jump on that opportunity. Remember, the odd symmetry of that play is that it was a Pressgrove who got the yellow card in the first half that led to the first Eagles goal, and now she gets the equalizer in the second half. And leave it to a 5th-year senior in a game like this to come through with her career on the line. And now the Eagles get a corner kick. And it's possible we see multiple goals here down the stretch. It feels like whoever scores the next one doesn't necessarily have as big of an advantage as you normally would late in a winner-take-all game. Here's the corner. Low liner into the box. Headed down by Boylston. Papadanova got a foot on it, but we've got a whistle against the Eagles. I think it's against Papadanova.
That's, again, Kennesaw State surviving those situations, but every set piece in this game has become so vital. They've created half the goals. This counterattack is getting really lethal for KSU.
Isabella Contreras, the senior. It was deflected, and then Zoe Spitzer got to it.
And she would have had Harris in behind. The run was timed well, but great deflection for FGCU. Still Kennesaw State, though.
Hart towards the front of the box. Nobody there. Spitzer pops it up in the air. Sosa off her head. Boylston there. Gets it to a teammate. That's Megan Young. Young across midfield with that high arcing pass and headed out of bounds by Pressgrove. We've got a dandy here this afternoon in Fort Myers. 2-all with just under 30 minutes to play. What a finish this is sure to be. That's Lil back in the corner, working against Hahn. Hahn got a foot on it. Eagles still have it. Here's Boylston. Drops it off to Morgan. Morgan with defenders on her. Back to Boylston. Boylston had it taken away by Pressgrove. Aggressive plays all the way around for Kennesaw State as they play it out of bounds back to Sanaya Clark and the Eagles.
They're playing with freedom. They're playing with nothing to lose. They are energized. This is a big moment for FGCU, a veteran team who took care of business in the regular season. Can they settle this down? Well, a good chance developing.
Lilback, the shot, and it's high. Beautiful touch by Evie Papadanova, putting it on a tee for Louise Lilback, and she went too high. This goes back to what we heard from Benji Walton earlier in the week, Evan. We asked him about preparation for the postseason, having to potentially play 2 games in less than 48 hours and making sure his veteran team was focused and ready. And he said, really, it's all about playing loose. At this stage of the year, we're not trying to take a professional mindset to how we do business. We want these girls to really remember their love for the game, why they played it throughout their high school careers and then on to college. This is the time of year to kind of get your head, out of the details and remind yourself why you do it, why you love it, and he wants his team to play as loose and happily as possible, and they've done that all weekend long. Another chance is steered aside by Hahn. Long ball across midfield. Curlis able to get to it.
Good play there by Opal Curlis. Contreras charging hard. That was sort of the situation how Papadanova scored at the end of the first half. You're right, though. This Kennesaw State team, the goal was have fun, and they're certainly doing that. That sideline exploded when that goal trickled across the line.
I mean, facing teams of the caliber of UNF and FGCU, to score 5 goals in just over 3 halves against those 2 opponents in a winner-take-all environment is just remarkable for a Kennesaw State team who their last 3 games of the regular season, they won 1-0. Wasn't like they were playing 3-2 games all year.
They scored multiple goals once in their conference schedule. They've scored multiple goals in both of their postseason games.
A lot of close 1-goal games for the Owls this year. They were a true middle-of-the-pack team in conference play, but like we said, they've gotten hot at the right time, looking for their 5th consecutive win here today. Boylston turns it around for the Eagles. Papadanova had a head of steam, but Pressgrove did a great job to get to it. Contreras chipping high. Spitzer there for the Eagles. And then Baker got it into the box, but Weck was all over it. Just over 26 minutes to play. Still plenty of action left. Here comes FGCU. Cassidy Morgan looking for Lilback, but Hart stepped in. Hart plays it forward. Sosa up ahead, headed down by Curlis. Sosa down the sideline, didn't give up on the play. Clark is there. Clark keeps it in and then sends it out. Boy, we are seeing no signs of fatigue for Kennesaw State playing their 2nd game in a day and a half.
Oh, this is all adrenaline now for KSU. They are flying high off the momentum of scoring that 2nd goal.
Harris into the box. Spitzer in good position. Plays it down, though. Becky Contreras is there. The low shot is deflected. Here's another chance. Harrison turning. Harrison trying to get it to Pressgrove. She does. And Pressgrove's shot is onto the baseball field.
The field goal is good.
Well over the bleachers.
Carly Pressgrove scoring the goal that tied the game, but this one was just from a little bit farther out.
We've got a sub coming in for FGCU. It's Silvana Gordon, the senior from Shawnee High School in Medford, New Jersey. She'll replace the local product Sanaya Clark. So only 2 substitutes used by Coach Blankenship in the first half. He gets a 3rd one in here midway through the 2nd half. Spitzer tracking this one. Contreras wipes her out, and that'll be a foul.
Well, she plays with her heart on her sleeve, Becky Contreras. Sometimes that's not good news for the other players. But she is what a phenomenal player.
A competitor.
Scored the 1st goal for KSU. Benji Walton's got a star in the making in number 3.
You don't see this much aggressiveness out of a freshman in a game like this against she is not intimidated playing the number 1 seed.
The whole team hasn't been. They responded as well as you possibly can. That second goal before halftime, that is a backbreaker 9 times out of 10, maybe more than that. And this Kennesaw State team was not bothered at all. They went out and they played and they got their goals, and it's anybody's ball game now.
Free kick coming for FGCU. Opal Curlis will take it, a member of the Academic All-Conference team, a senior from Mount Desert, Maine. Gatorade Player of the Year in Maine, and that shot doesn't find any teammate. Instead, it's scooped up by Sornpau in the air. Curlis, a Syracuse transfer as well. Not a lot of transfers on these rosters, but a couple JUCO transfers for the Eagles. Pressgrove down the sideline, hoping Harris can run under it, but Patton is there to send it towards midfield. Loose ball ends up with Young.
Isabella Contreras has been so good for Kennesaw State here in the second half, causing them problems. Been unable to clear the ball, but here's a good counterattack. Well, it was.
Well, Hahn stepped in and found a teammate as well. Becky Contreras towards the middle of the field. Eagles get it back.
Wonderful play there by Morgan.
And Morgan again plays it forward, headed to the side by Hahn. Lil back chasing after it. Hart is there as well. And along the sideline, Hart wins the ball for Kennesaw State. Up ahead, she's got Isabella Contreras. It's almost like those 20 minutes she spent on the bench gave her a chance to rethink almost her entire career, get her mind right for this comeback. Their senior leader, Becky Contreras, is stopped by Spitzer. She's had a nice day as well.
That sounds dramatic, but it's not. This would have been the last game of her career. Without this comeback, it still could be.
And we saw her absolutely gassed. I don't know if she wasn't feeling right or if she had some sort of injury we weren't aware of, but Isabella Contreras took those 20 minutes at the end of the first half to just kind of sit by herself on the bench. She had her head down and really probably was contemplating quite a bit, and she has come out with a vengeance here in the second half, and the Owls needed her, and she has come through. Papadanova tried to jump on another opportunity. Instead, the Owls play it across midfield. Morgan, Contreras come together. Now it's Becky Contreras. More contact and a foul called against Morgan. Morgan, a very experienced junior. Evan, she's from your favorite town, Weston, Florida.
Yeah, it's a good name of a town, I would say. Right up there with Evansville.
And a couple more subs about to check in for Kennesaw State. Hart will take this free kick right on the midfield line. Just over 20 to go. That's a high arcing ball towards a bunch of players. Headed to the sideline by the Eagles. Becky Contreras, the first one to it. And a nice play on the ball by Megan Young. Trying to lead Lilback, she does. Beautiful ball for Lilback. Papadanova streaking towards the goal as well. Lilback pulls up. Backing down a defender. What can she do with this chance? Owls starting to get back now. Lilback leading.
Was really nicely done by Haley Decker. Didn't let Lilback even have a passing lane to try and find Papadanova. Excellent work from Haley Decker, who got a surprise start today. The freshman has really stepped up.
She was looking for Silvana Gordon, who has just come in, and now 3 sets of fresh legs entering for Kennesaw State. Schreck is back in. Abby Hunt is back in. I believe Jenna Volrath comes in as well. Gordon, who just came in, is now out as Alyssa Abandondolo returns. So 4 new faces into the match. We may see additional subs here down the stretch as they try and keep everybody fresh with the season on the line. Morgan with a crack, and it's too long.
Morgan had to put that on her left foot. The ball fell to her, but there was no obvious place to go with it. And again, not a bad idea. Just got to put it on target.
You can see those passionate Dirty Birds behind Tiffany Sornpau trying to urge on the Eagles. They are not used to having this much of a threat here at home. Again, they're 9-1 on this pitch in 2019. And getting quite a test from the 5th-seeded Owls. A foul against FGCU, a little frustration there, and Hart will draw it and get her team possession. And the longer this tie score continues, Evan, I feel like the pressure just gets ratcheted up so much for FGCU. They've only missed the final once in Jim Blankenship's 13 years here. So this would be an unprecedented loss if they can't pull off a win here. Baker to the middle. Oh, nifty play. Contreras let it go through for Isabella. Trying to lead a teammate. The shot, and Weck is there. Oh, a great opportunity, and Volrath did not angle the ball enough.
Oh, lovely dummy by Becky Contreras. Isabella Contreras was there. She slid in Volrath. Right, she just didn't hit it perfectly. There was a defender with her. This game has opened up big time.
I don't know if we can say enough about the performance today all the way around for Becky Contreras. The ASUN Freshman of the Year has been spectacular for Kennesaw State in almost every phase of the game today, and she has worked so well with the upperclassmen on this Kennesaw State team, and she's a player to me that has a Conference Player of the Year written all over her in the years to come.
And she's absolutely a star in the making, and Isabella Contreras, not related, has been terrific as well.
This one to the back post, a good opportunity for the Eagles, but Soren Powell skies into the air to make the play. They had two players there on the back post. Abandondolo was in perfect position, but Soren Powell came in to make the save.
I maintain that Soren Powell is the best in the league at coming off her line at the right time, making good decisions, making sure that she gets the play on the ball. And another good example of that there.
Foul against Kennesaw State. Eagles have a free kick. Under 17 to go. Abandondolo plays it down. Papadanova was ridden off the ball by Hahn. No call. Becky Contreras comes in to get it. Finds Baker. Baker changes direction, shook the defender, and almost fed it through for Becky Contreras, and it's eventually out of bounds off of Zoe Spitzer.
Well, what Becky tried to do there was Volrath had made a run after that came back to her, and Spitzer stopped Volrath from having a one-on-one breakaway to the keeper because there was nobody else back there.
Opal Curlis deflects it out of bounds. Baker on the throw-in. There's Becky Contreras, eventually met by Ashley Brentlinger. And a foul against the Eagles. This is a nice angle to play a ball in.
Yep, they're going to put something dangerous in there. That's how they've gotten their goals, particularly the second one.
It looks like Morgan Harrison will come over to take it, the senior from Canton, Georgia. And she'll actually give way to Kendall Hart, who has taken most of them today. A fantastic opportunity for Kennesaw State. They entered this half down to 2-0 with their season on the line, and now they've got a chance to take the lead off this set piece. Hart plays it in. Weck is out, and she makes the play. Well done by Melissa Weck. The senior keeper does not want to see her career end today.
Good confident take there by Weck. Remember, she had missed on the second goal for Kennesaw State. She does well there.
Weck has been superb in her entire career here in Fort Myers. Second team all-conference this year as a senior. Here come the Eagles. Boylston with some space. And it's loose now, and Boylston went down. That was Pressgrove contesting.
And Boylston a little bit slow to get up here after taking a shot from Carly Pressgrove. This does set up a very nice set-piece chance for FGCU. Probably a little bit too far out to shoot, but you can absolutely trouble Tiffany Soren-Powell in this defense from this range.
Do you go soft here and try and get it high, Evan, or do you play it tight to the back post?
Yeah, I think you're too far out to shoot. I think you go over the wall and try to get a runner, and they've got Patton just outside the far post. Maybe that's the head you're trying to find here.
Morgan goes to the right with a roller, and a nice job by Hahn to play it into the stands. They were looking for Papadanova.
Yeah, I love that idea. So Papadanova was going to come over and then cross the ball across the 6 and try to find one of 3 players for a tap-in, and I think it would have worked. Kennesaw State sold out for the first ball, and they were able to go get it.
A great job by Hahn. Now they play it forward. Contreras is ruled to be onside. Becky Contreras working with 2 defenders in the area. Plays it towards the middle. She's got Isabella Contreras. The shot on Weck, and it's saved! Melissa Weck knocks it out of bounds on a point-blank opportunity from the senior Contreras.
That is a game-saving stop from Melissa Weck. Tremendous counterattack by Contreras. Pulling back, Isabella Contreras, a free run at the goalkeeper. She makes a shot that's on target, exactly where she wanted it, and Weck denies her from point-blank range. That is a championship-saving stop from Melissa Weck. Phenomenal goalkeeping.
Not out of the woods yet. Here comes the corner from Harrison. Towards the box, headed high by the Eagles. That was Patton. Still loose. Sabandondolo gets a piece of it. Becky Contreras, the shot is high. Becky Contreras, after that shot there on Weck, was just doubled over at the knees. She has put in every ounce of energy she has into this match.
They're going to bring Sosa back in, and I wonder if they'll give Becky Contreras a breather here because...
And there she goes.
Oh, my goodness.
Took that shot. Here's a pass to Harris. Harris, the left-footed shot, and it's wide. Erin Harris had a chance to give the Owls their first lead of the day on a broken play in the FGCU box. Things breaking down for the top seed, but twice in a row they dodge a bullet.
We said the Weck saved the game for them on that last sequence. This time she nearly gave it away. Poor goal kick. Contreras is all over it. Weck was caught in between 2 minds there with Harris, and Erin Harris has got to put that on target. That is so difficult to see slip. Kennesaw State could have won this game twice in the last couple of minutes.
This is edge-of-your-seat action here in the ASUN semifinals. It's almost like Weck let her guard down after that marvelous save and coughed one up there, and fortunately the Eagles got away with it. Brentlinger plays it down for Spitzer. Boy, the Owls are just everywhere on these passes.
I almost think FGCU at this point has to weather the storm and get to overtime.
Yeah.
Because of just Kennesaw State, the entire second half has just had the tactical advantage. They've had the momentum. Look how good their counterattack has been. Isabella Contreras has completely dominated midfield.
I think the Eagles are a little shell-shocked right now with what's coming at them.
For sure. And I think Blankenship's going to have to make an adjustment here if he can get it to the extra period. Otherwise, I mean, FGCU has the forwards to create a moment of individual brilliance to get them a game winner. But right now, Kennesaw State is in control of this game.
A throw-in for the Owls there on the far side. That one played forward on, and there was contact. They're going to call a foul against Young. Sosa drew it. And a free kick on the way for Kennesaw State. We've got just over 10 minutes to play. Any goal from here on out, pretty likely the decider. Still no score in the other semifinals. They get towards the end of the first half in Nashville. NJIT and Lipscomb scoreless. The winner of that will play the winner of this next Saturday for the conference championship and a spot in the NCAA tournament.
Still very possible that Kennesaw State hosts that title game if they advance, and so does NJIT.
Which is just a matchup with so low odds going into the tournament. Harris turns one around, pops it up high in the air. It'll go out of bounds. Did she get a touch? No, it's going to be a goal kick.
I believe that happened on the men's side a few years ago where we got a 6-5 championship game in the soccer tournament. I'd have to go back and look at that. But I don't know that it's happened in the women's game before, certainly not in any sort of recent season.
Sauer comes in for Pressgrove on the Kennesaw State side. Brentlinger and Abandondolo get a rest. Silvana Gordon is back in for FGCU, a senior. She has played a lot in her 4 years. Kira Marios in again as well. Battling for the ball there through a few Owls. The bodies just keep on flying by her. Boylston able to play it down nicely. Kira Marios moving forward for FGCU. She's got 4 teammates in front of her. Goes left foot to the forward Lilback. Looking to cross one, and Hahn makes another great defensive play. The pass stays in bounds, and Young could not play it forward. You see Pressgrove has come out of the game here, and her teammates are just so fired up about what she's been able to do today. She was the one who scored the tying goal. She's got her left spike completely off right now. She's doing some work on that left foot.
She's been instrumental, not just with her goal, but defensively as that shield in front of the back four. That is such an important position on the field. And as a leader, one of the few seniors on this team.
Here's a pass to Papadanova headed forward, but Sorenpau there on the front post.
I looked it up. The 2017 men's championship, Jacksonville and Lipscomb played as a 6-5 title game at JU. And it was actually Lipscomb, the 6th seed, who won the tournament.
Opposite chalk in that bracket.
And that is certainly a possibility here in the women's side in 2019. But this game and the other game, plenty left to right.
Baker was trudging ahead. Gordon played it right to Becky Contreras, leading one for Harrison. Harrison scored on Friday. The shot, and Weck makes a terrific save. Plucked it out of the air with 2 hands.
That was tougher than it looked for Weck because there were players in front of her. She couldn't totally see where the ball was coming from. Had to make a late decision on the trajectory of it, but she read it perfectly.
Well, she does a great job reeling balls in. She can clean up just about everything, Melissa Weck, for FGCU.
9 saves for her today, John.
We talked about it, an 83% save percentage in conference play this year, 80% overall for the season, just tremendous. Here comes Papadanova racing right by the defender. There was a tug from behind, and they do call it.
That's a good foul by Kennesaw State. You do not want her in the open field and making plays.
They're going to give a yellow to Sydney Sauer, but you'll take that.
That's all. It's the correct call by the official. It was a bit of a cynical foul, but that's the way it is. I mean, you absolutely trade the yellow card for Papadanova getting in a dangerous position like she was set to do.
Curlis moving a little too far forward. And here's a good chance for the Eagles. They've got 6 players forward here. See, Becky Contreras is just physically incapable of moving far from the ball. She is going to stand as close as she possibly can to this free kick. Curlis, a high one towards the front of the box. Papadanova tried another bicycle kick. It's loose on the back post and played out of bounds well by Sosa, and so it'll be a throw-in for FGCU on the far side with Decker about to come back in.
That was very ambitious from the top player in the league this year. A bicycle kick from outside the box.
Well, you don't mind it when you have the lead in the first half, but in a tie game with 7 minutes to go.
Well, to be fair, there wasn't much else she could do with that, but yes, it was had a low likelihood of actually succeeding.
They toss it down to the corner, and Hart was there on the denial, as was Sosa. It's still in. Lil back on the ball, able to find a teammate. Kira Mario's towards the front of the box. Headed down by Gordon. Boylson's shot is well wide. She lost her balance there. I think she was waiting for contact and it never came. And so it's a goal kick for Sorenpau. 6 minutes and 30 seconds to go with a spot in the conference championship game on the line.
It feels like there's more drama left in this one. I don't think that this is... I know that we're running out of time here in the regulation period, but this game is so wide open.
And this is great. This is what you want to see at a
phenomenally
postseason
entertaining. For a neutral, it is just spectacular.
Harrison to the ball, wins it for Kennesaw State. Hart plays it forward. There is Harris, got it nicely to Sosa. Sosa's pass is deflected out of bounds. Good effort there on the far side by Sanaya Clark.
Lovely block by Clark. Again, Kennesaw's been so threatening with their front four. Their speed has broken the game multiple times for them. Here we go again.
Harris tees one up, and it's wide to the left. She broke free there from the defender and took a quick shot, but it was wide.
Yeah, that was a little rush by Harris. She had both Contreras. Isabella was forward, but the better option might have been a layoff for Becky, who was making a run right to the top of the 18-yard box.
That's a short kick by Weck. Harris again with a lot of speed towards the corner, racing forward, and it's towards the box, an easy scoop up for Weck.
Yeah, that time Harris didn't have many options because her teammates can try their best, but no one can actually keep up with her when she breaks away with the ball like that, and she didn't have an angle to shoot.
Hahn pops it up. She has also been fantastic today for Kennesaw State. Boylson up ahead. Lil back couldn't get the angle, and Hart steers it aside.
It is 0-0 halftime in in Nashville between the Highlanders and the Bisons.
And now we're going to get another sub here as Megan Young returns for FGCU. A quick break for her. She will replace Sanaya Clark, and we're also going to see Carly Pressgrove return for Kennesaw State in a moment. The senior got a quick breather as well here within the final 10 minutes of play. But before that game in Nashville started, here's Morgan trying to find a teammate. Silvana Gordon looking, shooting. It's blocked, still loose. Eagles on it. Boylston plays it wide. Here's Gordon. Gordon against Baker. Baker gets a foot on it. It's still loose. Gordon turns. The crossing shot. Kira Marios there. The shot up ahead, and it's too high. Lilback had an opportunity, but it went just above the crossbar.
There was a little bit of an opening between Soren Powell and the crossbar for Lilback to squeeze that in. It's a really high degree of difficulty. Just got under the ball, but that's a good moment for FGCU. You got to put a little bit of fear into this Kennesaw State team. I think they succeeded to just remember who we are.
Absolutely. But going into the start of that match in Nashville, it was already 2-0 FGCU before that game started. So those teams going into halftime, checking the score, probably shocked to see that this one's at 2-2 in the waning minutes of regulation. Contreras drops it. Harrison chips it. Becky Contreras heading it forward. Harris crashing in, but Lindsay Patton is there. Patton has started every single game in 4 years on the back line for FGCU, and she does not want to see her decorated career come to an end. This one's played forward. Papadanova chasing after it, but Soren Powell is there.
Feel like this one might need a little bit more time to decide it. It's unbelievable how hard these two teams have played. And I wonder, though, that if the longer this one goes, the more it favors the Eagles, with just how much energy Kennesaw State has expended coming back and then keeping their foot fully on the throttle through this entire second half. But I should probably learn by now not to doubt them.
I was about to say, every time we think that Kennesaw State's going to run out of gas, they discover something more. Here's a cross. Sosa headed it down, but it's out of bounds.
Yeah, Sosa was trying to put that back central, but there wasn't really anybody in the box anyway. Well defended by FGCU.
Less than 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in regulation. We'll play a couple of 15-minute overtime periods if needed before a potential penalty kick shootout. No ties, of course, in postseason play. One of these teams will be headed to the ASUN Championship game next Saturday, and one will see a devastating end to their season. Zoe Spitzer will take this free kick for FGCU. Chested down by Boylston. Contreras wins it away from Morgan. The freshman of the year across midfield. Traced tightly by Morgan. She goes down, but not before she gets it to her teammate Harris. Aaron Harris trying to go around Opal Curlis, and Curlis pokes it away.
Strong defensive play. That's not easy to do against a player with the combination of Harris's speed and technical ability.
Throw down comes into Harrison. Harrison to the corner for Baker. Baker gets off a clean cross. Chipped up in the air by Morgan. Pressgrove couldn't get a piece of it, and now Lilback wins it away for FGCU. No one ahead for the Eagles, but Lilback will push it herself across midfield.
It's good transition defense here by Kennesaw State. Get behind the ball.
Lilback looking for something to happen. Puts it high towards the crossbar, but wide.
Now, there was nowhere for her to really go with the ball there. Papadanova was locked down. A hopeful shot from distance. There might have been room in that bottom corner there, but just a little bit wide.
We've seen 30 fouls in this game to go with 27 shots. We've got 30 seconds to go, a last-ditch effort for both teams here before we play some extra time. Up ahead, it's Isabella Contreras with less than 20 seconds to go. And it's played out of bounds by Young, and that might do it. 12 seconds to go. 10. Young is content to kind of burn some time, throws it into no man's land, and guess what, Evan? We are not done yet. We've got overtime coming with a spot in the ASUN title game on the line. What a performance by Kennesaw State. down by 2 at halftime on the road against the #1 team in the conference, and they dig deep and find a way to score 2 goals early in the second half, and we are headed to extra time.
Absolutely incredible game. Kennesaw State with just a dominant display in the second half. They had a few moments, one in particular saved by Melissa Weck on Isabella Contreras at point-blank range where they could have won the game. FGCU, frankly, have to count themselves fortunate that they're even in overtime and that this game isn't over.
Yeah, you mentioned it, and I completely agree that the longer this game goes, the more it favors FGCU, because the longer it goes, the less gas Kennesaw State has in the tank, and also they had so much momentum in the middle stages of this second half, and somehow FGCU was able to weather the storm and send this to overtime. So I think, as kind of shocked as FGCU is right now that they're in this position, they also, like you said, should feel fortunate and almost feel inspired that they still have a good chance to reach the conference final.
Yeah, they're very much in this game, and now golden goal. You score, you win.
2 15-minute periods, correct?
It's 10 minutes, I believe.
We've got a 5-minute break here between the end of regulation and overtime. So we'll get that sorted out. We'll be back in about 3 minutes. You're watching the ASUN postseason here on the ASUN Network live from Fort Myers. We welcome you back live to the FGCU Soccer Complex here in Fort Myers. John Vitas alongside Evan Weston as we get ready for the first overtime period. As Evan mentioned, it is a 10-minute overtime period, then another 5-minute break, followed by a potential 10-minute second overtime period. And then it comes down to penalty kicks. So 10 minutes and then another 10 minutes. Golden goal. The first team who scores is on to the ASUN finals. And these two teams took those 5 minutes to rest, take a little seat, listen to their coach's message there. And FGCU with a chance to regroup after they saw their 2-0 lead evaporate quickly in that second half. And Kennesaw State had so much momentum, but the Eagles are hoping that this little break and chance to regroup gets them back on track. Goals scored in the first half by the Eagles, Kira Marios on a penalty kick, and then Papadanova, her team leading 11th goal of the season, and then 2 goals scored in the second half by Kennesaw State. Becky Contreras assisted by Emily Sosa, and then Carly Pressgrove in the 59th minute. Those 2 goals only 7 minutes apart early in the second half. We saw plenty of action late in the second half as well, but nobody was able to cash in. And so we are tied here in the first overtime period. We'll see if they change anything, if they play a little more methodical, which it seems like they might be early on here, but at some point somebody's going to make a play.
I think FGCU has to be a little bit more aggressive on the ball. They were really bunkered in through most of that second half. They came out preparing to defend a 2-0 lead, and that went away so quickly. I think you used the word shell-shocked. I think that was about right. They just weren't ready for what Kennesaw State was able to bring offensively. I'd like to see them go back to doing what they were doing in the first half, where they had more of the ball, were more confident going forward. There's offside called against Kennesaw State. They were able to involve their midfield a little bit more. They have not been able to do that in the second half and so far here through the early part of the overtime.
Teams have switched sides. Melissa Weck now on that left goal. Will take this free kick. And a foul against the Owls, so a set piece coming for FGCU. Only a minute and a half into the first overtime. You would almost hate to see this come down to penalty kicks with how well these teams have played in the flow of play today. You feel like these superstars on both sides can come up with something amazing here in the extra time, and that's what you'd prefer to see. Although, of course, penalty kick shootout's always exciting. This one into the box, and Soren Powell is there. She has played a fantastic game as well. We haven't talked about Tiffany Soren Powell much, but she has been equal to everything. This one played forward. Isabella Contreras down to Becky Contreras, the freshman, towards the sideline for Sosa. Sosa likes to play out wide. Her pass is deflected out of bounds by Silvana Gordon, and a throw in for Hart. Kendall Hart, the junior from Fullerton, California, down the sideline, too far for Sosa. Young backtracks to it. Goal kick for Weck. Little bit of a slow start pace-wise first few minutes.
Yeah, I think FGCU is trying to settle the game down a little bit. The second half was so open. But Kennesaw State right now is just answering every question FGCU is trying to ask.
That one to the middle for Morgan. Becky Contreras, though, plays it forward. Isabella couldn't reach it.
We talked about the pressure from the front line getting UNF rattled on Friday night, and that's happened again here, where FGCU's forwards are just harassing the midfield and the back line for FGCU. They have not been able to get out with any sort of comfort. I mean, you're throwing up hopeful 50-50 balls. That's the best that they can do right now. They've had no ability to play out of the back, where they were doing it seamlessly in the first half. I think Kennesaw going down the way they did almost was a blessing in disguise, because it enabled them to play with a little bit more freedom and do what they do best, and just out-athlete you and out-pressure you and out-hustle you.
And coming into the tournament, if you were to say that the game would be played in the open manner like that, you would almost favor FGCU because of the firepower they have up top.
Well, they're so good individually, but right now they're just having trouble involving those attacking players in the game. You have to put them in positions to succeed. It doesn't matter how good you are. And Kennesaw State has done a great job of keeping the ball away from them.
If you're putting this game into a very simple terms, Kennesaw State has simply gotten red hot at the right point of the season here at the end. They've been able to gain confidence with this 4-game winning streak and put up 3 goals in the win on Friday night against a good team in North Florida, who has just experienced the best season they've ever had. This one is deflected back to Weck, and she'll clean it up.
Look at the effort from Contreras there, though. I mean, it's a throw-in. It's right to the defensive midfielder. It looks like the play's over. No, she stays on it, deflects it, and then, even when the goalkeeper has it, she's still pressing all the way back.
Here's Sosa with some space. Sosa towards net, and it's taken by Weck.
She had Harris slipping in behind on the right side. She's got to pick her head up and notice that option. I don't think she ever saw her.
Pressgrove and Boylston come together. Boylston contested hard by Harrison, but now she's got it. Ma Boylston, the Brazilian striker, her pass is knocked away. Pressgrove is there. It skips through Harris, and the Eagles will have it.
Kennesaw's transition defense has been so good, too. Every time FGCU does manage to win a ball in midfield, they're right behind the ball. There's nowhere for the Eagle player to go. Been so impressed with Benji Walton's side. No matter how this game ends up, they have absolutely nothing to hang their heads about.
That call goes against the Eagles, so a free kick at midfield for the Owls. More than halfway through this first overtime. Whoever scores wins. This is Kendall Hart waiting for her team to get set up. The official very interested in the traffic in front of the box. They sort it out. Here it comes. Towards the front of the box, headed high by the Eagles, and Weck had to save the season on a potential own goal.
Well, that could have been absolute disaster for FGCU. And again, set pieces, Kennesaw State has created chaos, and that was almost the most chaotic result possible. Heads-up play by Melissa Weck to tip it over.
Jim Blankenship could do no more than shake his head after watching that play unfold. A corner kick for Kennesaw State. It goes high towards the back post, headed high and wide. Pressgrove got to it, but it'll be a goal kick for FGCU.
Oh, you love golden goal. I mean, that would have been it. It would have been off the field. It would have been over. That is sensational goalkeeping by Melissa Weck, who's now made 10 saves in the game.
They did give a shot to Kendall Hart on that sequence, but I thought it was the.
It was an FGCU player who touched the ball. I didn't see which one, but it would have been an own goal to end the season for the Eagles.
Well, you don't want to see it end that way, and it didn't. As we play on here, final 3 minutes of the first overtime. That one played out of bounds by Decker. Gordon backing down the defender. Has it taken away by Baker, and then it's out of bounds over to the Eagles. Curlis to the sideline. Gordon finds a teammate. That one's intended for Lilback, but Hahn, who has played so well, is there. Contreras collides with Boylston, and it's going to be a free kick for FGCU.
And that's Contreras' emotions getting the best of her. That was not a foul she needed to commit. Boylston was not in a particularly dangerous position. But now you've given FGCU an opportunity with a set piece.
2 minutes to go in the first overtime. Boylston will take it. Eagles spreading out near the box. This one's got some air under it. The header forward, and Sorn Pau is there. She stayed disciplined that time and stayed back. Now wheels went out to the sideline for Sosa. Sosa across midfield to Isabella Contreras, and a nice play on the ball by Silvana Gordon. Here come the Eagles as Boylston is completely upended by Contreras, and that'll elicit a card.
Contreras was booked on Friday night. Now she's been given a yellow card here. And she's just playing a little bit too aggressively right now. The referee making the right decision to book her.
That's 2 fouls in less than a minute. One earning her a yellow card.
Unfortunately, it looks like Boylston is all right. That was a dangerous foul by Contreras. Again, has now picked up a yellow card in both of these games.
And that will not count from Curlis. They'll do it again.
It was Megan Young, I believe, who had it was Lilback who had the header that was saved by Sorn Pau. Just not quite enough power on it.
Curlis leads Young. Young trying to find a teammate is Gordon. Gordon goes back to Young. Young takes a shot, and Sorn Pau handles that one hopper. A minute 20 to go in the first overtime. FGCU with some momentum. Spitzer has it go right by her. It's a foot race. Curlis and Harris. Harris wins it, but it's going to go out of bounds in the corner. It will be Kennesaw State ball. Or, I'm sorry, a goal kick for FGCU.
Yeah, Harris was the last one to touch that. She won the foot race, but not cleanly enough to touch the ball in and towards goal. And that bailed out FGCU.
Curlis had just enough again.
I like what the Eagles have done in these last couple of minutes, though, until that counterattack. They've been a little bit more systematic, developing plays going forward. They'll have to do more of that in the second OT.
Papadanova's got some space to work. Looking for a teammate. Now she goes towards the center. Evie Papadanova wants her second. Gives it up. Boylston is there. They play on. Boylston leading one towards the box. Sorn Pau over and makes a sliding pickup.
Yeah, a little bit too tight there from Boylston. Good play in midfield by Morgan Harrison to unsettle Papadanova. Take the rhythm out of that play.
Last-ditch effort. Final 15 seconds. Harris is there on the far side. Under 10 seconds. The lead pass is too long, and we're going to go to a second overtime. 10 minutes in the first overtime. Both teams had a couple of chances, a potential own goal saved by Melissa Weck, and then FGCU could not cash in on a couple of opportunities in the final 3 minutes.
Hang on a second here. I think they called a foul against Kennesaw State with about 2 seconds left, and I don't think they're even going to bother with the free kick.
The head official has done a good job getting in front of any extracurricular activity on both sides. He has done a nice job keeping this game focused on the soccer and not the other stuff. And we're going to get a second overtime here. Just a 2-minute break, but this time we'll keep it right here. I mean, when you go into a conference tournament in any sport, you hope for some classic battles, and I think this one qualifies as that.
Yeah, this is such a a knife's edge moment. And this FGCU team, they're not used to getting punched in the mouth like this. And it has been such a joy to watch this game and watch these players mentally adjust to what the other team is throwing at them. We saw Kennesaw State for the first part of the overtime continue what they had been doing in the first half, and nearly a disaster of an own goal for FGCU avoided by Melissa Weck. But then near the second part of that OT, FGCU started to get that confidence back. They started to play a little bit more of their style of soccer and troubled the Kennesaw State defense a couple of times. I still think this is up for anybody to win in the overtime period. This may not necessarily go to PKs.
I mean, thinking big picture here, this is the type of game that can set your program on a different trajectory. You lose a heartbreaker like this, FGCU feels awfully discouraged. And of course, you've got 8 months to rebound until next season begins. But this would be a real interruption into a string of 15 years of success. We talked about it earlier. In 13 years since they've gone Division I under Jim Blankenship, they have been in the championship match of the league 12 of the 13 years. This would be just the second time that they wouldn't make it. And for Kennesaw State, they've been a pretty consistent team to reach the semifinals. They've been in a couple of finals, but this is a team that has been solid year in and year out under Benji Walton. This is his 4th season, but even before he got there, they were a solid program, but they haven't been at the top of the conference very often.
Well, I think it's notable, too, when you look at FGCU. They were 4 seed last year. They were knocked out in the semifinals, so this would be 2 years in a row without the Eagles in the conference tournament championship if they were to lose today. Now, I think this program will be fine. I think there's an enormous foundation laid here that they will be. I mean, they won the regular season title, for goodness sake. They're going to be fine. But when you look at what this could do for Kennesaw State if they win, I think that's a great point. I think for this program to be in this position again would be an historic success.
Lilback's got a chance, and it's quickly eliminated by Hahn.
Wonderful defending. That's tough to do near the box. You got to be careful, but she gets all ball.
Kelsey Hahn has been relentless all afternoon on defense for Kennesaw State.
I think she's played with a bit of a chip on her shoulder. She was the one who Papadanova got by for the chipped goal right at the end of the first half, and since then she's been utterly locked down.
This is a high arcing pass towards the goal. Papadanova wanted it, but Sornpau got higher.
I like that idea, actually, by FGCU. Force Sornpau to make a play. You don't make it easy on her, and she was up to the challenge.
Well, Sornpau has made all the plays since halftime. The keeper for the Owls has been tremendous. Both of these goalkeepers, clear-cut starters, they've all played in all but 100 minutes or less this season. Baker pushing ahead, trying to create something for the Owls. Baker one-on-one with Spitzer towards the end line, and Spitzer creates some contact there in the corner, and I think it's going to be a throw-in. It will be.
I'm a little surprised not to see a foul called against Spitzer there. She and Baker looked like they got tangled up after the ball had drifted away from both of them.
They sure had quite a bit of contact low. That one goes out of bounds off of Morgan. Harris now has it near the sideline, able to get it to Baker. Baker, a low cross, chipped up in the air out of the box. Harrison trying to play it down softly. She can't. Lilback got to it. Now it's Gordon. Gordon plays it across midfield for FGCU, allowing Papadanova to run behind it. Eagles crashing hard. Papadanova trying to get the corner. Changes direction, sits on the ball, trying to get past the defender. She cannot, although she does get it back. Now contact, no call made, and Kennesaw State wins the ball. Haley Decker with a physical play. Gordon continues with it towards the corner. Gordon the cross, played down by Lilback, the shot, and it's wide! Eagles with a chance to win it in golden goal, and somehow that ball did not find the net.
Well, it should have found Kira Marios for the tap-in. That was the play there. She was running onto it, and just, we're at a poor angle from where we sit to see how close she was, but could not have been more than a foot away from tapping that in. Lilback with a phenomenal touch off the pass by Gordon, held up her player. Sornpau had to commit, and somehow they could not line up the tap in. That should have been it for FGCU.
So now both teams have come tantalizingly close to the final here in extra time. They play on, though, with under 7 to go in the second overtime. Here come the Owls. This is Erin Harris trying to get by Spitzer. Here's the pass, the shot, and it's wide. They got a touch, though, I believe.
No.
Nope, no touch. That was Isabella Contreras crashing in.
She was calling for it, but the referee was unconvinced. I think he got the call right. Great job defensively. I believe it was Patton with her just holding Contreras off so that she had to put it wide.
This one reaches midfield. Pressgrove able to get it down for Harris, double teamed. Spitzer's played well. This one towards the corner. Baker is well covered. Curlis pushes it out of bounds.
I like that they can have Baker get really high up because she has those instincts as a forward. That was the position she came up at. So even though she's playing right back here, she has the ability to get involved and give them an extra number.
Becky Contreras plays it down, but her shot is well wide towards the opposite corner. And a goal kick for Weck.
Hit the flag to give Weck the goal kick, and Contreras applaud the effort, but did not look like there was much of an angle there.
5.5 to go before penalty kicks. Pressgrove played it high. Harris, Contreras on it. Brentlinger gets in there. Play on the ball made by Lilback. Lilback racing down the sideline. There are two Eagles near the box. Lilback looking, working on Harrison. She turns. The shot towards net. It's high and over the crossbar. Another great opportunity for Louise Lilback. And Soren Powell couldn't reach it, but it was not low enough to go in.
Soren Powell had that lined up really well. I'm not sure there was any space for Lilback to score there unless she had bent the ball a little bit more towards the top corner. But another really good chance. Lilback has created so many problems for Kennesaw State. She's so close.
It's amazing that on a team where Papadanova and Boylston are so accomplished as scorers, it's actually been Lilback today who has done the most damage offensively, or at least created the most opportunities.
Well, Kennesaw State has put a lot of resources towards shutting down Lilback, or Papadanova, as Lilback's offside here. And that's, we said, other players are going to have to step up. Lilback's been doing that throughout this overtime period. She just hasn't found the breakthrough.
How about this? We've seen 34 shots and 35 fouls in this game this afternoon. It has been busy. It has been exciting. And we have seen two teams pour everything they have into this matchup. Isabella Contreras, far side, trying to set something up. She chips it into the box, and it's headed down. Here's a shot, left-footed attempt by Becky Contreras, well off the mark, but it stays in bounds. Here's a cross towards the goal, and it's wide out of bounds. So Kennesaw State not quite as precise now in their attack. They're still winning some balls, but they haven't come all that close with the exception of that potential own goal in the first overtime.
And Contreras had kind of half a look here. I go back to the one in regulation that Weck saved off Isabella Contreras that was just a point-blank gift wrapped for her by Becky Contreras, and Weck just made a phenomenal play to save the game and the season.
Weck was all over that ball on a play where I think the forward scores more often than not. Here come the Eagles. Lilback on the ball, back to the goal. She has plenty of company. Gordon looking to the corner and misfired. Lilback was crashing towards net, and Gordon played it in behind her.
Well, it ended up being a throw, and Hart tried to take that from about 20 feet farther than where it actually went out. They're going to force her back.
3 minutes.
I'd like to see FGCU put a little bit of pressure on here, and they've done so nicely. Good job there by Gordon.
They get the ball right back. Gordon has played so many minutes in her career, having to come off the bench today. Has done a nice job now getting the opportunity in these crucial moments. Kennesaw State wins the ball back. Becky Contreras, the freshman of the year, is wiped out by two Eagles. And there's a foul called. Just a conventional foul with 2.5 left. Can somebody come through on either side? Kendall Hart will take it. A host of Owls at the top of the FGCU box. Can Hart get it to him? Plenty of air under that ball. It comes towards the front of the box. Sosa headed it towards that far sideline. Harris able to control it. Backtracking now, working on Spitzer. She plays it towards the box. And well offsides is Becky Contreras.
Yeah, good high line there played by FGCU. That worked out on the freshman. Was a little bit overzealous getting in behind.
Yeah, she's been a little overeager in a bunch of different ways here the last 15, 20 minutes. Contreras has played such a good game. We've seen her commit some fouls, though, here at the end, and then got way too far in front of the formation there on that opportunity. 1:30 to go. And a foul called against FGCU. That's against Lilback, who is not thrilled with the call. Or Gordon, rather. So Hart will take it at midfield. We tick down to 1 minute to go in the second overtime. Hart again, similar spot as before. Top of the box, headed down by the Eagles. Can they create something on the counter? Hart keeps it in. Gordon plays it towards the middle. Harrison is there for Kennesaw State. Races past Morgan. Isabella Contreras chips it into the box, but nobody home. Harris trying to get there, but Weck is able to jump on it first. Upended her own teammate, and we are going to get a yellow card on Harris, who was too aggressive.
Yeah, she knocked over Patton after the play was over.
.3 on the clock. It stopped at the moment as they carded Harris.
And Weck's just going to hit this ball as far as she is physically capable.
And now the Owls dropping back to make sure the Eagles don't create something here in the waning seconds. Boylston tried to heel it forward, contacted midfield, and a foul against Morgan. Clock ticking, 20 seconds to go. Hart wants to take it, but her teammates need to get down there. And now they've stopped the clock at 19 seconds. So now it's going to be the Owls with the final opportunity. Trying to take out the #1 seed in the conference in dramatic fashion after being down 2-0 at the half. Kendall Hart towards the top of the box, into the box. It's loose in front. Harris plays it forward, 10 seconds to go. Baker chasing it. She's shoved off the ball by Brentlinger. Brentlinger wins it for FGCU, and this semifinal is going to come down to penalty kicks.
What a game. What an absolutely incredible game. No matter how this penalty shootout goes, these two teams can hold their heads high, having played a phenomenal game of soccer this afternoon.
It's just an inspiring effort on both sides. Kennesaw State erasing a 2-0 deficit on the road against the historically dominant team in the league. And FGCU now, with their chips pushed firmly towards the center of the table, will have to win this game in penalty kicks. We'll take a break. We'll be back in about 4 minutes as we get ready for this shootout. The winner moves on for a chance to play in the championship match. It'll come down to penalty kicks. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to the FGCU Soccer Complex here in Fort Myers, Florida. We're live on the campus of FGCU. The semifinal of the 2019 Women's Soccer ASUN Championship has come down to penalty kicks. An invigorated effort by the Kennesaw State Owls in the second half has helped them erase a 2-0 deficit. And we finish at a 2-2 tie, and the winner will be determined by penalty kicks. John Vitas alongside Evan Weston. It doesn't get much better than this. Just a sterling performance turned in by the Owls. The Eagles able to weather the storm and create a couple opportunities in both overtimes, but nobody able to score. And now during this 5-minute break, Evan, both teams have had their coaches huddle up, determine who the 5 are going to be to take these penalty kicks. It'll be 5 shots for either side. All 10 penalty kicks will come on the north goal, and you've seen a lot of the crowd move behind that goal. So basically about half the crowd here at the FGCU Soccer Complex is now directly behind the net that is going to determine this. Of course, if we're still tied through 5, they'll go sudden death after that. But it now comes down to the instincts and the reactions of Tiffany Sornpau and Melissa Weck. And, of course, it comes down to these 5 players who are going to shoot to convert and not miss. You said it's about an 80% conversion rate on these penalty kicks. So 1 miss is enormous. 2 misses will likely cost you the championship.
Yeah, this is it's going to be Hoop Links first, right? And we've got 2 phenomenal goalkeepers in Tiffany Sornpau and Melissa Weck, both of whom have been called into action today. Weck in particular for a couple of wonder saves. And the Conference Player of the Year is going to get us started for FGCU.
So Papadanova will take the first PK for the Eagles. You've got the experience and the accomplishments of Melissa Weck against the athletic wingspan of Sornpau, and Sornpau comes up with a save. Papadanova is denied, and the Conference Player of the Year cannot convert for FGCU.
Well, what she did wrong there wasn't the actual shot, but she gave where she was going early. She opened up her body and indicated where she was going to shoot. That let Sornpau move to her right in time to stop the shot. She didn't have to guess.
Well, the senior cannot score, and right away the advantage swings to the Owls. They're going to go with a bench player to take this one, Jenna Volrath, the sophomore from South Forsyth High School in Cummings, Georgia.
She's their backup striker and maybe their best pure goal scorer. That's some faith being showed in her by Benji Walton. Scored 6 goals last season. Has had trouble with Becky Contreras sort of jumping in front of her in the pecking order this year, but she is ready for this moment.
Volrath to give her team the lead in PKs. Saved by Weck! Both goalies come through on the first PK.
Oh, what would you expect anything less out of this game? I mean, the first one, Papadanova maybe let her intentions be known. This time, Weck just made a phenomenal play. She guessed right. That's most of the battle. And then was able to get down low and save what was a pretty well-taken PK. It was maybe a little bit too high and tight, but not one that you would expect to miss. And Weck guessed right and made the athletic play.
How awesome is this? These fans fired up behind the net. You can see the reactions. You've got the yellow on one side, the blue and green on the other. As the senior leader, Lindsey Patton, tees up PK number 2 for the Eagles. We're tied 0 for 1 on both sides. Here's Patton. Saved by Sornpau. It came up really soft off the ground, and an easy save for Sornpau.
Yeah, again, Patton just like Papadanova did, opening herself up too early, and if you're going to do that, you got to hit it with power. And she tried a little chip, and it did not come off for her. And Sornpau has had 2 pretty easy saves so far.
How often do you see 3 saves in a row?
Yeah, no, this whole game has been unprecedented. I mean, how often do you see FGCU lose a 2-0 lead at home? I mean, it's been that kind of a game. And now the senior Isabella Contreras. Can she give Kennesaw State the advantage?
Both coaches willing to put the fate of their seasons into the hands of the senior leaders. And why wouldn't you? Contreras has had such a fantastic career. The senior from West Palm Beach trying to put her team in front. And it's in. Weck guessed right but couldn't reach it. And Isabella Contreras gives the Owls a 1-0 lead in the PK shootout.
What a gutsy performance by her today. She was looked like she fell ill in the first half, had to come out, miss the last 20, 25 minutes of that first half. Came back with a vengeance, was so key to the comeback for Kennesaw State, and now hits her penalty, and now this is getting to be crunch time for Florida Gulf Coast.
Another reserve forward will get an opportunity. It's the sophomore Alyssa Abandondolo out of Oasis High School in nearby Cape Coral, looking to tie up this PK shootout. And it's in. Abandondolo gives FGCU their first score.
Well, Sornpau has had 2 saves going to her right. Abandondolo fakes her that way and then hits it cleanly the other side. That's a great penalty kick by Abandondolo.
So it's 1-1. But Kennesaw State still has the advantage. They're 1 for 2. Eagles are 1 for 3. Becky Contreras, the freshman of the year in the conference, will take the next one for the Owls. She picks her spot as she sizes up the senior Weck. Here she comes. And it's in. Great angle by Contreras, and it's 2-1 Kennesaw State.
Yeah, that was one where, again, Weck guessed correctly, but Contreras put it on a little bit of a bounce, and it snuck under Melissa Weck and into the net.
So now all the pressure in the world on the Eagles. Kira Marios will take it, the sophomore from Titusville. Any sort of miss here puts Kennesaw State one more goal away from finishing it. Attempt number 4 for FGCU. They're down 1. Kira Marios has it ready. And it's saved! Sornpau puts the right fist in the air and shoves it into the crowd. And now Kennesaw State is 1 score away from going to the final.
Well, that is just phenomenal goalkeeping. I mean, a hard-taken penalty. Well struck. Sornpau with her athleticism.
And now
reaching out to make that play. Unbelievable.
And now the weight of the world is on the shoulders of Melissa Weck. A must-save opportunity to avoid missing the final for the 2nd straight year. Weck, the senior, trying to guard Kendall Hart for the win. And it's wide! Hart missed it to the left, and the Eagles are still alive. Through 4 attempts, we're tied.
Well, it's sort of my job not to be speechless, but there's not a whole lot left to say about this one. We will see how it ends up, and now Boylston to keep FGCU alive.
This would tie it at 2 in the PKs. Boylston has to have it. The senior from Brazil, transferred from West Florida, Boylston. Saved! Sornpau saves it, and Kennesaw State is headed to the conference championship. The Owls come to Fort Myers, and they knock out UNF and now the top-seeded Eagles. Kennesaw State celebrates. They have pulled a massive upset. Down by 2, they score twice in the second half and win it in penalty kicks.
Unbelievable heart. Unbelievable poise and composure, effort, resilience, and Tiffany Sornpau, who's been twice left off the all-conference teams in the league the last 2 years. I know that's a point of contention for them. Comes up with 4 saves in 5 shots in the penalty shootout. A Herculean performance.
Yes. By
Tiffany Sornpau at the end. Kennesaw State down 2-0 at half. This looked dusted. It looked like FGCU was just going to roll to the final yet again. And instead, in a basically once-in-a-decade sight, they lose on their home field. And a 5-seeded Kennesaw State team is on to the conference championship game, which, by the way, they still have a chance to host, as NJIT and Lipscomb are scoreless late in that one. If NJIT were to win, Kennesaw State as the 5 seed would get to host the conference title game. A Cinderella run continues for the Owls, who've now won 5 straight.
The final tally, Evan, in the PK shootout, 2-1. FGCU went 1 for 5, as Sornpau, like you said, with a Herculean performance, and the junior keeper helps her team pull a humongous upset here on the road. Kennesaw State comes to Fort Myers, and in 2 games against 2 of the best teams in the league, able to score 5 goals and win twice in less than 48 hours here in the Florida Heat. And this Kennesaw State team has all the momentum in the world. They've won 5 matches in a row, and they got some big-time performances from some star athletes. Becky Contreras, the freshman, was marvelous. I think you got to give a lot of credit to Kelsey Hahn as well. The defender snuffed out a lot of FGCU chances. And on the other side for the Eagles, this is just a devastating loss. They have so many seniors on this team. You can see a lot of the emotions. Lindsay Patton's career, such a decorated career. She never missed a game. It comes to an end for her and so many others. Papanova, Boylston, who had the final chance there in the PK shootout. A couple of seniors see their careers come to an end. So much accomplished by the senior class, but in the end, it's 2 years in a row not in the conference championship match.
Well, that's always the other side of these games is you see one side in jubilation, and it's so hard to watch the team that didn't come up with it. But again, we said it throughout the match. FGCU has nothing to hang their heads about. They played a great game, another brilliant season, and this program will rebound under Jim Blankenship. There is no doubt about that.
Yeah, we said it late in the second half that this is, if you want to put it into simple terms, this is a case of one team getting extraordinarily hot at the right time. Kennesaw State has won 5 matches in a row against some quality opponents, none more capable than the top-seeded Eagles, who they stun here this afternoon. We hope you enjoyed the match today. It doesn't get much better than this, as Kennesaw State wins 2 here this weekend. We want to give a big thank you to our FGCU campus crew, led by our producer Monica Case, and everybody here with the conference here today. For my partner Evan Weston, I'm John Vitas saying so long from FGCU, where Kennesaw State earns their spot in the conference championship match next weekend. Thanks for tuning in, and the next broadcast of ASUN Women's Soccer will come next Saturday, potentially in Atlanta, as the Kennesaw State Owls earn a chance to win a conference title.